I want to say something so bad.
Okay, we're live. We're trying to start our show, so we had a little technical screw up, but once Al figures it out, we'll be in business.
Basically, Al messed up.
Hey, everybody.
All right, stand by.
Okay, shh, quiet. This is serious. Well, that sounds familiar.
That it does.
2 weeks later.
And look who is here.
Well, who is it?
It looks like
Wait,
Chance
wait.
Martell's over there.
Or is it Chance from a bottle of Jeannie thing here? What
Is that where you were, Chance, in the Jeannie bottle?
Yeah.
You could say that. I went to a Halloween party and had one too many drinks, and we were supposed to roll on this show a couple weeks ago, and I blew it. So I apologize
Chance
to you
never
guys.
showed up. Tom and I were sitting here.
not like
Oh, you can
Yeah.
check the music out now.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty interesting intro.
Well, yeah, it was. And were you drinking cheer wine? Because the can that you gave me says it was made in 1917. So that's pretty old stuff. Why are you giving me this old crap?
Because it's got to ferment, man. Don't you know nothing?
I don't understand.
No, I was drinking, I think, vodka and some beers. It was a Halloween party, and then there was some exciting news about this leader of ISIS getting taken out, and so then I took another shot to celebrate that. And next thing I know, the sun's up, and I overslept.
Well,
And that's not like me. I'm not a drunk.
Well, we don't want
Honest.
to.
I'm not a crook.
Listen, we don't want to upset our ISIS fans right off.
I knew that we were in trouble.
I was kidding.
I knew we were in trouble when Chance called me at 7 o'clock in the morning. Chance is never awake
Whoa,
at
whoa,
7
whoa,
o'clock
never.
in the morning.
Never.
You never know who's listening to this thing. Let's
Unless he
let's
stays
TMI.
up all night long. And he was up all night.
Well,
and
he was watching TV.
I was at a Halloween party, actually.
Well, he was watching the Halloween TV.
And I told Tom,
That was after.
I said, Chance is not going to show up today. He's not going to be here.
Well, anyway, that's great. Chance, great that you're here. And plus, we were off a week because Al was sick.
Yeah.
Al had the bug.
I had the bug.
And-
It was
and-
bad.
Even though he took a flu. You had a flu shot, Al?
I did, but I didn't have the flu. I never had a fever,
Okay.
had a little bit of a sore throat, and a head cold.
We won't get into that debate, the flu shot debate, because
Yeah,
everyone has their
well,
own side on that. and-
I got the flu shot for the very first time in my life that I know of at work. It was free, of course. And
I've gotten it for
I
the
haven't gotten
last
the flu
4
yet.
years.
knock on wood. Where's some wood there?
I don't know if some people listening might not realize that you work at the Weather Channel,
Yeah, when I'm there.
and you saw something kind of cool fly overhead the other day.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because we're all.
I'm not trying to be polarizing,
know.
but it's a
it's
a national thing.
And this
so-
has nothing to do with what we're talking about today. But anyway, because we're pod blasting, remember we go all over the place. But everybody started running toward they didn't run, but they made a dash for the door. Where's everybody going? So my executive producer, Keith, says, "Oh, come on, we got to go up to 7th floor. The plane's coming in." I went, "What plane?" He said, "The president's plane." Oh, yeah.
Air Force
I
One.
forgot, Air
That's
Force
right.
One. So we all go up to actually the 8th floor. I said 7th. So we go up to the 8th floor, and everybody's at these one set of windows, and there are these other set of windows. Go, oh, when's he coming? And all of a sudden, there he comes.
And you sent
Out of
that
the blue.
great video that you took.
Yeah.
But there were no fighter jets that you saw.
No,
Unless they were
wasn't.
way off in the distance.
No, and they were landing at Dobbins.
Yeah, Dobbins Air Force Base is in Cobb County, which is in the Marietta, Georgia area of the United States. And Tom's Weather Channel, not to
Yeah.
give the address,
No,
but it's
right
near SunTrust Park, is it not?
Yeah, it's
where
right
the
across
Atlanta
the street
Braves play.
almost.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
Kicks
So you had a great
radio,
view of the Air Force
Kicks
One.
radio on 106.7 used to be at
Well,
Interstate
don't
Parkway.
give Kicks a plug.
That is true.
People listening probably don't know what Kicks is.
It's a radio station.
It's a country station in the Atlanta area.
106.7.
Heritage station.
What I'm saying is, I worked in that area for a long time.
Yes.
So,
Yes, very good.
next to the Weather Channel.
Now,
And now you work for us in the basement. Actually, we're not.
That
in the
I
basement.
do.
We're not in the
I
basement.
don't work anymore. Yeah.
So Chance, tell us about what we're talking about today, because
Yeah. What are we talking about
this,
today?
this was kind of you bringing it to fruition, and tell us about it.
well, I can tease you with some sound effects and some music. This will give you a hint. And you've teased already. You played your own clip previously, but nope, this isn't the right clip. It's the reveal at the very bottom of the list.
Oh, hang on a second, folks.
Well,
this is
see,
live radio.
Do we want to stop tape or
No,
keep it rolling?
let's
All
keep
right.
it going. Here
What
we
the
go.
heck?
Here we go. Listen to this. Here you go.
I tried to build some suspense with this crazy music.
Sounds weird.
Hold on. This will give you a hint. Right about.
Oh, right there.
Now, what do those sound effects and music mean to you? It means magic, doesn't it? Doesn't it remind you of the 60s and
Yes.
maybe syndication in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and today?
Very much.
TV Land, Me TV, Antenna TV.
More incidental music. We could play incidental music all under this thing.
What is that?
That was Bewitched.
Oh, I see.
And that's what we're talking about, the magical sitcoms of Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie. We'll start with Bewitched.
My favorite.
Yeah, because it's the easier of the ones to do because we watched more of that.
And there's more episodes. There's 8 seasons.
Well, the Jeannie stuff was good. Don't get me wrong, but Larry Hagman and whatnot. But the cheer wine's making me belch. How rude of me.
And we're drinking cheer wine, which is a cherry soda for those that don't know. It might be
Hairball,
regional.
excuse me. But
And we just tried the Popeyes chicken sandwich.
That's right, we did.
that's right, we did. And
We
you
had
know
that
what?
Popeyes chicken sandwich.
I misspoke, but I think we're going to play that our first bites at the end of the show.
Yeah,
today.
because we had a real experience. It wasn't a metaphysical experience or anything weird like that, but it was good. It was good. It was delightful. And thanks to Chance for
Who stood in line.
waiting in line for over an hour, or almost an hour, waiting for this. And the weird part about it was they were waiting on all these customers at Popeyes, and they put Chance off to the side. You got to wait over here with the people who just want the chicken sandwiches. so meanwhile they're waiting on all these other people coming in, and it was crazy. I would have walked out in anger, but we were anxious to try the sandwiches, even though thanks to David Tonigan at my work, who brought me one on Friday via Keith Cromwell. It was great. Of course, I was hungry too.
Well, the only difference really is that Popeyes puts mayonnaise on it,
True.
where
That's one of the
Chick-fil-A
differences.
does not do
True.
that.
And it's plumper.
It's plumper and
it's
thicker.
juicier.
Yeah.
And I like them both.
But
know?
we're giving away what we're going to
Yeah,
give
yeah.
away at the end. So anyway, we digress.
Al, why don't you tell us a little bit about Bewitched, like when it started and your factoid about the pilot.
Al,
And I'll be quiet now so you can do your thing.
And Al, I'm hearing you breathe like Alfred Hitchcock.
What's wrong with that? Well, the pilot was started November 22nd, 1963.
And that date is significant. And for those that don't know,
Saul Sachs was the producer of the pilot, but he never produced any of the other episodes because that same month, John F. Kennedy was shot. And he had previously recorded Happy Birthday, John Kennedy with Marilyn Monroe. And it affected him so much that he backed off producing the rest of the Bewitched shows. And so, but Harry Ackerman went on to direct the shows, who was friends with Saul. And so,
Let me just say
you
this.
gonna step in?
Rush Limbaugh here. You're telling me there's a conspiracy between Saul Sachs and the Bewitched show and the assassination of JFK. Is that true?
That's true.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yep.
I just wanted to clarify that.
that date you mentioned, November 22nd, that's, of course, the day he was assassinated, sadly.
Yeah. Poor John.
Golly, I was before my time, but that America changed. The innocence, I know I sound cliche, but from my history lessons, I understand the country really changed after that happened, like a sense of innocence. And then Lee Harvey Oswald getting assassinated on live TV.
I was in
Right?
junior high school, and they
I
made
was in
the
elementary.
announcement over the PA system. The president had been shot.
I just want to point out that I was in elementary school, so that makes Al a lot older.
I'm an older. I'm hungry. I'm an old fart. But anyway, and so they made the announcement on the school PA system, and then they let school out, and let us go home.
Well, they didn't let us out.
They let us out.
I remember the teacher came back to the room crying,
Mm.
and we didn't know why. Then they rolled the TV in and started showing us the live coverage of it.
You guys are boomers.
Yes, we're boomers.
I'm a baby boomer. Yes.
Baby boomers.
Are you aware? I learned this on Conan O'Brien last week. The younger generations are now insulting baby boomers by calling them boomers. Oh, you're
That's
a
true.
boomer.
That's true.
It's a
I've
new
heard that.
thing.
Well, I don't have a problem with that.
No, I know. It's like a weak insult. It's kind of like calling a white person a honky. It's just not very effective. I don't know.
Yeah, I've heard that.
We had a DJ that I worked with
Boomer.
named Boomer one time, so
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with
I
that.
played soccer on a team called the Boomers.
The boomers.
But the closest thing I had in
like the
school
Boomers.
to a national tragedy, because I'm a Generation Xer, was the explosion of the Challenger when the
Yeah,
teacher died.
Right. Oh yeah. I remember that too.
You know, the very first
horrible.
episode you know what the first episode of Bewitched was titled?
Tell us.
I know it, but I'll let you reveal that.
You don't know? I thought
I
you
do
would
know. I'm letting you. It's I take.
Oh, so
I,
you
Darren,
got-
take this witch, Samantha.
Yep.
Do you know who narrated the episode?
Would it be Gary Owens or no?
No, Jose Ferrar, an actor.
Right.
Yeah, he narrated the very first episode.
We're gonna have a fun pod blast. These are fun shows. We got
Yeah,
clips. You know, we're in a happy place. I didn't mean to bring it down. We're talking about JFK and all that, but it is significant. And when did Bewitched debut on ABC TV, Al?
You're asking me a question I'll have to look up.
I have it here.
I'm still
I thought
laughing
you
about
had
your
it right
breathing.
there in your
I'm
notes.
sorry.
All right, I'll just September 17th, 1964, ABC premiered.
What's
on
wrong with you
ABC.
over there? What are you doing?
Just imitating you breathing on your.
You can't hear me breathing. Can you
Yes,
hear
I
me
can.
breathing?
Yes, I can. And every time I hear it, I laugh because I want to say, like do some Darth Vader action here. I'm sorry, Chant. You're trying to be serious about something, and
No, in a minute, I just want to play
was
the
sorry.
original opening to Bewitched because the original sponsor was
Was it Quaker?
Chevrolet.
oh, see, I thought
What
it was
night did
Quaker.
it air?
No, Quaker.
Quaker
We'll get
came
to
later?
that.
Okay.
They came later.
What
That's right,
night
that
did
was
it air
color.
on ABC?
Tell us.
Thursday night at 9 on ABC.
And what was its competition on CBS?
My Three Sons?
Oh, very good. You did your homework, Al.
Yeah. I like
Ladies
My
and
Three
gentlemen,
Sons too.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say I am impressed with Mr. Hardy for the first time since we've started this. He did his homework. I
Well, I like
that.
Bewitched. I'm not a big fan
Yeah.
of Jeannie, so I'll shut up while you talk about that.
Well, so Chance pulled a bunch of cool clips,
And
So-
you did too.
Well, I did too, but Chance pulled them a couple of weeks ago, and they brought them in. So Al, you want to let's start thinking about some of those clips.
The
So-
Chevrolet opening, I think, would be a good place to start.
Okay, well, let's start
Don't
with the
you?
Chevrolet.
I started to play that a while ago, but that was the wrong one. Right?
Yeah, no,
Well, now it's the right one. This is the original opening with the Chevrolet sponsor tag
All
to
right, let's
Bewitched.
just give it a listen. There's that familiar bow tie song.
Chevrolet presents
Was he going to say it?
No, that was later. We had an announcement. Next search will replace Dick York. We'll talk about it later.
Okay, so I think we knew this is Bewitched, right?
Yes, but there's going to be another tag for Chevy.
Now is the time to get a #1 buy.
So that's the opening
Yeah,
to Bewitched. Now I've got a little
by
anecdote.
my foot.
I didn't hear Dinah Shore. I
No.
thought she did the Chevy
No, that was a
commercials.
different network.
Oh, I
That
see.
version of the opening title, there was different music each season that was scored.
Right.
And in syndication, meaning reruns, and on home video, they got lazy. That's the only version of the opening theme you hear season 1 through
Really?
5. And then in season 6, when Dick Sargent took over from the original Darren Stevens actor Dick York, they had a new opening, and they played that in syndication. But that irritates me because season 3 was my favorite opening.
Yeah.
And that's when Quaker Oats took over as a sponsor. That's the first color season, but we'll get to that later. I'm jumping ahead.
Yeah.
There were 254 episodes of Bewitched. As we said, it started September 17th, 64. It
It's on
ended.
8 years.
That's right. March
8
20
years.
through
yeah.
March 25th, 1972.
And they've gone back and colorized the first season.
The
which
first
actually-
two seasons.
Yeah, I'm sorry, first two seasons. And actually, it looks pretty darn good.
They did an amazing job. And
Yeah, they did.
people
I'm
get
surprised.
really bent out of shape about colorization. It was done really badly in the 80s by Ted Turner with
Yeah,
Gilligan's
Yeah, it
Island
was. Well, it was in
and Holiday. And they didn't
Well,
have
that was the early
technology.
days of
It was just,
colorization.
it literally looked like what you'd see in 3D glasses. You know, it's
Yeah.
like the blue and the red. And
It's pastel-y looking, but they've done. Zach Smothers, I mentioned him before. Pop Colorature. Sorry, Zach. Does an amazing job. He's done the Munsters. He's done Lucy's. He did the Peter Jackson film that was released last year about World War One. So he does that stuff all the time, and it looks beautiful.
it does.
I mean, vibrant colors. They don't look fakey. They look amazing.
Yeah, but if
And
it's
I-
not broken, don't fix it. Why?
Yeah, but
why they got to colorize
but
everything?
here's the thing. You go back for instance, and here we go pod blasting again back to the past. If you go back, I heard that. What are you doing over there? Reading a
Rattling
book?
papers.
When you rattle the papers, you got to do right here.
My friends and I.
So, but what Zach,
Rush Windbag.
but what, yeah, really, what Zach does is he takes it and makes it look like it. He does his research, and he goes back and researches the colors and stuff like they had back then. So he does it the right way. Whereas what Ted Turner and his mega thing did not do that. They just colorized it, made it the easiest color possible in the palette to make it look colorized.
But the faces, the hues in their skin would still be black and white.
Yes, that's correct. But the way Zach
No
does
flesh.
it, yeah.
Color.
If you go back and look, there's Heap Big Monster where Herman's dressed up like an Indian. You can see the different colors of the Indian war paint and the bonnet that he's got on the cheap. It's beautiful.
So they colorized the monsters. I didn't know that.
No, he only does little clips.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm just giving you an example. The colorization in the Bewitched episodes, even though Zach didn't do them, which he should have, they look good. They really do. Columbia colorized the Three Stooges, some of the Three Stooges too, and they look okay. They don't look great, but they look good. And Al said, "Don't fix it if it's not broken." I agree, but here's the problem: a lot of today's youths, they don't want to watch black and white stuff. They want to watch color.
Well, that is true. They don't.
So basically, it brings a new viewing audience to the table. And to me, it makes it a little bit more sellable because it's color. And I know that's not cool, but hey, I mean, it looks good. If it still looked like crap, I would say, oh yeah, please stop doing that. But it's come along. The computer technology has come along so wonderfully that it really looks good.
And another thing is they looked at wardrobe photos. They looked at actual production photos to know what colors were the real colors.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like Zach would do. He would do that. So, sometimes you got to guess at some of this stuff, and I get that. But majority of the time, like you said, they research it and do what they're supposed to do to get the right colors.
Hey, Al,
what are you reading?
Would you not agree that if you had a problem with colorization, you could simply turn the dial of the color on your set down?
Well, that is true, but why should I have to do that?
Well, I'd rather have the color than not. I don't know. That's just me.
When they shot Bewitched, they shot it with one camera. The whole show was done with just one camera.
Well, it's because they couldn't afford more than one camera.
Well, the shows then were shot on film, and so they had one 35 millimeter camera.
Well, they shot it film style, is what they say. Just like Star Trek Next Generation, that was done with one camera.
And obviously, there's no live audience. It's all laugh track, canned garbage, canned laughter.
But you know what? If you go back and look at all those shows, whether it's Bewitched, Dream of Jeannie, any of those shows, without the laugh track, it's horrible. Because here's the problem. You're so used to listening to that and hearing that laugh track. When it's gone, buddy, you can tell. I mean, it's a different show.
How have you heard it without the laugh track? Has someone done that and gone back and remixed it?
Somewhere on YouTube, somewhere. I'm sorry, I don't recall when. I knew we were going to talk about this.
That's cool.
But somebody has done that, and it's literally.
I think Tom's making that up.
No, I'm not. No,
I think he's making it up. I don't believe it.
No, well, that's okay.
Show me on YouTube.
Don't mess with me. I will. But without the laugh track, it's a different show, for crying out loud. Even again, I'll use an example of Tyler Perry. Again, I'm sorry to bring him up, but when he does his sitcoms, the talent wears earpieces in their ears, and he's playing a laugh track. So they will take time and react to the laugh track, so they don't walk all over the laugh track. Hence, you always hear film before a live studio audience. So same thing.
Like the Norman Lear shows, they make a point, or Three's Company.
Right. And so if you watch the Happy Days and all those shows that were filmed before the live studio audience, you'll notice that there's a pause. When there's a big laugh, they don't keep talking. They pause.
You're so right. The first two seasons of Happy Days, which had the Bill Haley and the Comets theme, was not in front of a live audience. That wasn't until season 3.
Correct. So,
and they went to videotape from film.
Yeah.
To videotape.
So it's what I'm saying. It's funny how whether it's black and white, whether it's a laugh track or not, without the laugh track, it would be a different show. It would be a different thing.
Al, what you got, man? What you got to add about Bewitched?
Well, on Bewitched, who was your who was your favorite character actor on Bewitched? You know who mine was?
I do know.
I'll tell you. I told you earlier today.
But I can harken back to PodBlast 2 game shows where you talked about how you really appreciate the talent of.
Well, I don't know if that's right or not. Marion Lorne.
Right. Listen,
she played Aunt Clara.
Now listen to this.
You threw me a curveball. I thought you were going to mention someone else.
She's
Marion.
She's great. Well, listen to this. Listen to this now. Aunt Claire's trying to turn the ball.
Harkye, ye witches who live in lamps, ye powers of watts, ohms, amps, wizards of AC/DC transmission, send to me an electrician.
This is great. And it's Ben Franklin. And of course, Gladys Kravitz was looking through the window and saw Aunt Clara produce Ben Franklin. It was great.
And that's the second actress to play Gladys Kravitz. That's Sandra Gold.
Yes.
Well, because Alice Pierce sadly passed away of
Yes, she did.
cancer,
Yes, she did.
and she filmed to the very end.
And you know what
In
happened?
the black and white
She's
season.
probably smoking those evil cigarettes that you were hawking the other
What?
week.
I don't think it was lung cancer.
Well, Aunt
That's-
Clara was on from
Agnes Moorehead.
1964 to 1968. And she,
Yeah, she
But
passed away.
and a lot of people like Paul Lynde on the show.
Well, yeah, Paul.
You know,
Lynde's
he
great,
came
too.
in late, though. He came in 1965 and was there until 1971. And he was brought in to beef up the low ratings of Bewitched because the show was starting to sag in the ratings.
Now, he played what's his
Uncle
char-
Arthur.
Right. Did you know he was in a season 1 episode in a different character? The first time he was on Bewitched, he played Samantha's driving instructor, where she was learning how to drive
That's
a
right.
car.
I remember seeing that.
And he was
yeah.
eating like tranquilizer pills. He
Yeah.
was like, oh, nervous. And he was like, oh, Sammy.
But
We
yeah,
got a
they,
clip later of,
they brought him in to beef up the ratings on the show.
do you know
I
how
guess
many
it worked.
how many times he played Uncle Arthur on Bewitched?
No.
Guess how many episodes he was in
Well, it's
in
not,
the 8 seasons.
it's not that many, I don't think. Is it?
Well, he was
I
on
know
from
the answer.
1965 to 71. I don't know how many episodes in there he was on.
I'll just
though.
tell you 10. He was
Oh,
only
okay,
in 10
10.
episodes. My favorite was the first Color season. There were 2 episodes he did back to back. What House Across the Street, where he kept zapping a house.
Yeah.
And then Dora would take it away, and then the next week was the Halloween episode, Twitch or Treat, and Willie Mays had a cameo as himself, and it was revealed he's really a warlock. That's why he hit all those home runs at the time at Candlestick Park for the San Francisco Giants. That's a wonderful. I've watched all the Halloween episodes. We'll talk about our favorite episodes later, but they did a really good job with the Halloween and the Christmas episodes.
Yes.
The
Very
Halloween shows
touching
were really
Christmas
good.
But
episodes.
the Halloween
Bill
episodes
Murray.
are great because they went up to Salem to shoot them.
Yes, they did. And
Yes.
I think the second to last season 7, I believe.
It was good. It was really good.
One of my favorite episodes was Witches and Warlocks are my favorite thing.
But then they
Witches and Warlocks. are my
now
favorite.
real quick.
Describe the plot.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Al,
the plot.
describe why you like that one, please.
Well, because it had it had all these crazy characters. I mean, it was a witchy episode. I don't know why I liked it. I just
It had a
liked
lot
it.
of Samantha's relatives in it.
That's true. It did.
And her father was revealed,
Her father came, and
played by Maurice Evans.
but remember they
Yes,
wanted to take
yes.
Samantha and put her in another school. They wanted to take her, away. What was the lady that played her?
Agnes Moorehead, her mom?
No, yeah, Agnes Moorehead was in this episode, but what was that lady's name? Starts with a W. I can't think of her name. She was playing one of her relatives in there. And I've seen her in some horror movies. She was in like the Frankenstein movie. And she was the lady that was screaming all the time, the older lady that was screaming. It'll come to me.
I
Carry on.
don't know what you're talking
I
about.
can't think of it. I have to think of it later.
Well, did you like the Bewitched movie they did in 2005?
I didn't see it.
I did not. I couldn't stand it with Will Ferrell playing Darren Stevens. And you can't recreate some
No,
of the
you can't.
magic of the, no pun intended, of the original
No,
programs.
you can't.
and
But
shows.
I will admit that Steve Carell did a nice Paul Lynde. Listen to this.
I don't hear anything.
No such luck, Jackie boy.
Stay back! You are not real. You're from the TV show.
You have blonde highlights, and you had to wear a girdle on your last movie. Who's calling who not real?
I do not believe this.
So that wasn't. I mean, it wasn't.
It
bad.
sounds like him, but he's a little too flamboyant,
Well,
a
he
little
is.
too on the.
He
you
was
know.
a little flaky
The
side.
volume
but-
was kind of low on that. Can you turn it up on your computer a
Well,
little bit?
it is up. I guess that clip was. Yeah, the
Yeah, it
clip.
was a little
That's
clip.
why. That's why.
I'll fix it.
Now, in a minute, we'll play the real Uncle Arthur.
Yeah. Now the real
I
Uncle.
pulled some clips.
Oh, you pulled some clips. Too.
Yeah.
Okay.
We
Well, then
we
I'll-
can play yours first.
No. You play yours because yours.
It might
is
take
probably,
Al a minute to find it.
because
I got-
yours is probably
got
just
Paul
as
there.
good. But listen,
Yeah, Paul,
listen to how the real Paul, because everyone remembers him
Here we go.
from Hollywood Squares.
Dora. Well, we certainly have missed you. Long time no see. And we thought you said you were leaving for good.
Any resemblance between George Washington and myself is purely coincidental.
Rumor hath it you put that house on the corner.
I put my house on the corner. Mother intends to live there.
Over his dead body. Wait a minute, stop helping me. You're not going to zap yourself a rooster around here as long as I can help it. That house goes.
Ah, don't annoy me. I have spoken. That house stays. Now, Mother, Uncle Arthur, please. You cannot put that house back there. What would the neighbors say? What would they think? I don't care what the neighbors think.
Don't worry, Sammy. I won't let her be a nuisance to you and Tabitha. Anything Mother Hubbard can zap, I can zap better.
Well, that was a great.
It's
Oh,
on,
my
it ends,
mother,
so keep
please.
it
Now,
going because
wait
it
a
ends
minute.
on some good music.
I can
Oh, it's almost
handle
over.
this. Mother knows best. So, little boy blue, if it's hostilities you want, it's hostilities you'll get.
So that shows you how they had such animosity. Brother and sister. Uncle Arthur's the younger brother of Endora, played by Agnes Moorehead. And that's a segue into what you guys want to talk about. Don't you want to talk about Agnes a little bit?
You know, she was
Okay.
before
Psych.
Bewitched. Before Bewitched, she was in a lot of good movies, especially with Orson Welles.
Yes.
She was in a lot of his movies.
Her first TV show was 1953, a show called Lullaby. But she was in the Twilight Zone episode. You remember that?
Yes, she
one? Hardly
was.
any
I do remember.
dialogue whatsoever. And that was a great episode, filmatically shot.
Called The Invaders.
Yes, correct. Thank you.
Did you know that Twilight Zone is coming up on the 60th anniversary? I
Yeah,
think?
and we're going to be talking about that.
And they're
soon.
going to be showing
59.
episodes in the movie theaters. Did you know that?
Yes, yes.
4 of them.
Well,
I did.
if you've seen any of the high def conversions of that show, it looks amazing. It held up very nicely when they converted them.
We should
to
do a show
Blu-ray.
on the Twilight Zone.
No, I just said we weren't going to.
I'm over here working.
Al, you weren't listening to
I'm
me.
working over here.
You weren't listening to us. But it must be the throng of the Jeannie bottle sitting
There we
here in
go.
front of you, right there. But Agnes was an amazing actress theatrically, and she was in a ton of movies way before Bewitched. I mean, just like Yvonne DiCarlo is in a ton of
a lot
movies.
of RKO movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
before the Munsters ever came along. And sadly, a lot of people from our generation remember her from the Munsters, or remember Agnes Moorehead from Bewitched, and don't remember any of her filmatic stuff because she was in so many great movies. A great character actress she was.
She played with Elizabeth Taylor and all. I mean, not a little bit, but Betty Davis in a lot of movies.
Yes, she did.
She was a lesbian too. Just some
She was.
personal. She died unfortunately in April 30th, 1974 of lung cancer, shortly after Bewitched was canceled.
Yeah, after she listened to your show on smoking. But I'm sorry.
Well, I'm gonna
smoke fest.
No,
I've got a correction about that at the end of the show.
Okay.
About our smoking show.
So Dick, and of course Dick York. Now we haven't talked. Are we done talking about Agnes? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
because
sure.
we can just.
I thought
we can always
I thought
always
Al would wanna
digress.
expand.
Yeah,
No.
we can talk about all these characters till the cows.
But Dick York got sick from.
Well, yeah, he was sick from the get-go, though. That's
Yeah.
that's the bad thing. He had hurt his back.
In the war
Yeah, and he was always in a back brace.
in Korea.
Yeah, exactly. He was in a back brace the majority of the time. It was
Even when
really showing.
filming, he was in a
Yes,
back
yes,
brace? Really?
Yes, he
I
was in
didn't know that.
constant
I
pain.
didn't know that.
And if you watch his facial expressions and everything, it's amazing. He was even able to get through a scene.
He'd be leaned up in between takes on a
That's
board.
terrible.
Yes,
I
exactly.
didn't
And, and then it got to the point they had to replace him. He got hooked on pain pills,
Correct.
and
Yeah,
he just
correct.
wouldn't show up to set.
Yeah.
and they had to have 2 copies of scripts. And if you notice in the last episodes of Dick York, he was in season 1 through 5.
Right.
He would be away on business. He just would be written out of the story completely.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to let him go. And that just reminds me of the great chemistry that Elizabeth Montgomery and Dick York had.
Did he do a public service announcement about his illness?
Well,
He seemed like he did
Well,
something.
he did an
Emphysema too. He suffered
yeah.
from that as well. From
and
smoking.
I've got that interview. We'll play that in a little bit, where he was on Entertainment Tonight. Mary Hart had talked to him, and he talks about his emphysema and his how he's helping the homeless people, etc. This is shortly before he died, but living in a very small, modest house. It was kind of sad, but he was very happy. And we'll play that clip in just a few minutes.
He was awfully young when he passed away, wasn't he?
Well, I don't know if he was young, but he definitely died way before.
He wasn't
his time.
old like us.
Right. Correct. Well, let's go ahead and play that clip. Stop.
Of your clip or
Your clip?
I don't
Your
have-
clip?
I have one of Darren of
I don't
the
have that
Darren rant
I don't-
on the list. Do you see that? Where it says-
Right. Well, I'm talking about the clip where he was
on Entertainment Tonight.
in his final year.
Oh, we got to get that.
I didn't have.
You want to hear the Darren rant? You want to hear
Let's hear
that?
the Darren rant while he finds the interview.
How much longer is he going to stay here? I don't mind his walking the baby so much. It's what he does to entertain her. Pushing her stroller on a red carpet in front of Gladys Kravitz yet. Dancing on the ceiling. Turning himself into a 20-foot balloon.
Darren, I know you have every right to complain.
I'm not complaining. I'm not. Yes, I am. He's been here, what, 3 days? Talk about influencing a baby. And what he does to me, that I'm not too crazy about either.
Complain, darling. Don't rave.
I just don't happen to think that a hot foot made with real lightning is funny. I don't know why. Maybe I'm sick. I am sick. Sick of him. The more I see of Uncle Arthur, the lovelier your mother becomes. If I had to choose between the two, I'd take Endora any day.
The man has come to his senses at last. He finally appreciates the real me. Mother, you're back. Naturally. You didn't think I'd stay away and let that ridiculous excuse for a warlock exert his outrageous influence on my grandchild, did you? And I want to thank you for your compliment, Darwin.
Darren.
Darwin.
Darwin.
Did she call all of them Darwin?
No, there's a clip out there. Back when Nick at Night was running Bewitched, their promo department did a really funny promo where they edited together a lot of the misspeaking of the name Darren. It was pretty good. I wanted to find that clip too, but I screwed up. I didn't do that in my little prep for today's PodBlast.
Well, here's the funny thing. When we were originally going to do this show,
before Halloween, until I got drunk.
It didn't show up.
I had the clip, but the clip has now mysteriously disappeared off of my sources. It's disappeared. But
You didn't save it.
no, you couldn't save it. But it was the kind
You
of
can
clip.
save audio.
It was
on
a,
your desktop.
it was the kind of clip where it wasn't the best clip in the world, but it was a great clip. It showed him, before he passed, and he still sounded the same. He was still in great form, but he was wearing oxygen in his nose. 24/7 because of the emphysema.
Well, I like Dick York better than Dick Sargent. Though.
Yeah, he passed away back in 1992. Dick York did. Let's see, February 20th. That's my sister's birthday.
Now,
1992.
Now I do have a clip of Chris York.
Who is that?
It must be his son or something.
Has nothing to do with Dick York. I just got a clip of Chris York. I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. Chris York is. I'm sorry. That was good. Has nothing to do with Dick York.
I'll continue.
I have a clip of Sergeant York, Gary Cooper. No,
we don't need that one either.
No. This is Chris York being interviewed, and of course he is Dick York's son. Here we go.
We'll play it.
Well, behind the scenes of Bewitched. Were you there on the set?
No, Dad. He always made it that he was going to work. His first priority was to his family, and he went to work so he could support his family and play with us. But as he did play with us, anytime that anything happened to him on the show, let's say big ears. Actually, let me tell you a story about him. He would wear it home. He would wear whatever costume or whatever happened to him, he would wear at home. So, you know what my dad looked like, right? He already had big ears, right? You know, so he came home with the big ears on. My brother and I were sitting watching TV, probably not Bewitched, but we were watching something, and he came in and he had the big ears on. So we looked up. He said, "Hey, boys, I'm home." Turned around and said, "Dad, your ears are huge." And he said in a straight face, "Yeah, I know." And we said, No, your ears are really big." And he said, "Yeah, I know how to have big ears." And he's our father, remember? So we're little kids. And so he's getting a little irritated at us. We say, "Your ears are gigantic." He said, "I told you, boys, it's not nice to make fun of people's ears. I know I have big ears, and I don't think it's funny." I said, "No, Dad, really, there's something wrong. Honestly, your ears are gigantic." So we grabbed him and took him into the downstairs bathroom and said, "That's where the mirror was. Take a look." And he looked in there and he screamed bloody murder. He put his hands, "Oh my gosh, I don't know what they were serving at the cafeteria today, but something happened." And we said, "Go to the doctor, go to the doctor, go to the doctor." He said, "Nah, I'll be fine. I've had worse." We said, "Are you kidding me?" He said, "Yeah, that's all right." So he kissed us goodnight with his ears on. We went to bed, saw him in the morning because we wanted to check on him. His ears were fine. I said, "Dad, you're okay." He said, "I don't even know what you guys are talking about," and left for work.
Well, that's a great little story. But and by the way, I reached out to Chris and he didn't respond. So so much. Well, anyway, we got him on the show anyway.
Yeah, we did.
Thanks to YouTube. But it's a great little story, even though Chris.
I never thought about his big ears, but now that you point them out, they were big.
Well, yeah, they were.
Do you remember the episode he's referencing though, where Endora zapped?
I do not.
I like the one where she zapped a cloud, so it's constantly raining over his head everywhere he went. That was pretty funny.
Hilarious. That was hilarious.
A lot of good episodes. Now, Al, tell us why you like Dick York the best. What made him special as Darren Stevens?
Well, he was the
versus
first
Dick
one,
Sargent?
and I just liked his demeanor. I just liked the way he did the character over Dick Sargent. It's almost like Dick Sargent when he came in. He just sort of filled in the shoes and went through the motion.
He kind of sleptwalked through it.
Yeah. And I thought Dick York really put his all into it.
And they had great chemistry, Dick York and Liz Montgomery. Now,
did.
Here's the thing. Like, as you know, Dick Sargent is a gay man, and that's fine. I don't think that's anything to do with the chemistry, because if you look at Brady Bunch, they had excellent chemistry. Florence Henderson, here we go, PodBlast on another topic. Florence Henderson and Robert Reed.
Robert Reed.
I mean, I really thought they were a married couple, as a kid and teenager watching the Brady Bunch. So that has nothing to do with it. I think the chemistry was great between Dick York and Liz Montgomery.
It was.
And you mentioned the Twilight Zone episode, The Invaders, Agnes Moorehead was in. How about 2 with Charles Bronson and Liz Montgomery from season 3 of Twilight Zone? Again, hardly any dialogue of Liz. She played a Russian.
Right.
And then Charles Bronson was an American soldier after ostensibly World War III. And they have to get along, but they're still at war, and the war is not in. Anyway, that's if you ever see that Twilight Zone episode called 2, TWO, it's really good. And Liz Montgomery has a different look. She has her dark hair.
Yeah.
It's not dyed blonde.
More like Serena.
Yeah, and speaking of Serena, Liz Montgomery played cousin Serena.
Yeah.
And the first episode that introduced Serena was the one where Tabitha was born, and that was from season 2 in black and white. And there was a special credit for Serena. There was actually a credit in the end credits. Serena played by Pandora Spox. Get it? Pandora Spox, Pandora's box.
Yeah.
A play on words. But Spock's like Mr. Spock on Star Trek, plural.
Yeah.
Hey, Al.
Yes.
Didn't you have a clip of the season 2 end credits of Bewitched you had found? I'd love to hear that. That's one of my favorite versions of the theme. Do you mind if we listen to that?
You want to hear that?
Yes.
we want the Screen Gems logo.
No, it's
That's what needs to
but in some of the other later themes or earlier themes, it was more of a mystical sound to that soundtrack. Because
this was bright and happy.
Yeah, I like that's the second
Yeah.
season end title theme. They did a new orchestration each season.
Yes.
For the end credits and most of the
Now you
opening
talk
credits.
about Dick Sargent. Here's what Dick Sargent thought about a reunion show, if it could have ever happened.
Cool.
If it could have ever happened. Here it is.
You know, if I could go back and do it all over again, here's what I'd do. Say for a 2-hour Bewitched reunion movie, 20 years later. Well, it goes something like this. Aaron and Sam are still happily married. Adam's away at school. Hafna lives in New York City, and she works in advertising, like her dad. And Darren is still living with his secret, still thinking he's the only mortal in the whole world married to a witch. And somewhere along the way, he meets another mortal who's married to a witch, and then a mortal woman who's married to a warlock, and then another, and another, and Darren has a brainstorm. He forms a support group for the mortal spouses of witches and warlocks.
That's great.
Word gets out, and he's surprised to find out just how many there actually are, at least 10% of the population. Darren worries, though, that Tabitha and Adam's friends won't accept the fact that their father is mortal.
I'm hearing every
But
sound you make.
That's telling them. She finds out they suspected all along. He never disappeared or tried to travel on his own. He
That's
just
right.
wiggled his nose. But they don't care. They like Darren just the way he is. And finally, when Darren marches in the first Mortal Pride Day parade, his still beautiful wife at his side turns to her and tells her he should have done this years ago. Be proud of who he is and proud of the fact that he's married to a smart, talented witch.
How long is this thing?
They kiss. It's a wonderful moment.
Wasn't it nice?
Oh, very nice, very nice.
I thought he was going to go somewhere else.
You
with
know,
it,
we
but-
ought to stop and
Tearing
say
up.
hello. We got a ton of people watching on
We
Facebook.
don't need to stop. Hey, everybody!
Everybody
We're on
on
Facebook,
Facebook,
Live as we
but-
record the PodBlast today.
But
on
the
Sunday
but the
afternoon.
PodBlast will be blasting out your way without anyone watching. They'll be listening on their radio or their personal
You know what
listening
we-
devices.
You know what we should think about doing? We can do this, you know. When we do the PodBlast, we can put it on YouTube video.
Well, that's true. We can do that down the road.
Yeah, I think that'd be a
Now,
grand idea.
there was an earlier interview that Elizabeth Montgomery, she was on the Mike Douglas show.
I love Mike Douglas.
Back in 1966, and Cesar Romero was sitting to her left.
The Joker on Batman.
Yes. So let's listen to just a few moments of that because it's kind of cool. Because it's very historical because she's in the moment of the show. You got to remember that. To catch some of these actresses and actors back then on those talk shows was few. I mean, you type in Elizabeth Montgomery on Carson, you might come up with one, you know, if that. So here she is on Mike Douglas from 1966. Let's listen in on this one.
What happens when you're in a series and you just, you want to have a child and become pregnant? What do? They have to
Did they say pregnant?
Rewrite the whole series?
Well, luckily, when I found out that I was pregnant with our second little boy, well, I didn't know it was our second little boy when I was pregnant, but they wanted Samantha to have a baby on the show. And we didn't know whether it was going to be a boy or a girl or,
What did they want on the show?
Well, we didn't know until quite late, until we started working with scripts and things like that. And it just kind of worked out that I had a boy and Samantha had a girl.
Oh,
And so we call her Tabitha.
Your husband, who's Bill Asher, really
Yes.
does direct the show.
Oh, yes, he's the regular director on the show, and he's, one of the co-producers and kind of coordinates a lot of.
Is that good, Elizabeth, having
Oh,
your
I
husband?
love it. I just love it. And we have a marvelous time together. And it eliminates the two-car problem about having, two cars out all the time and waiting for your husband when he's got one and you've got the other. And we work very well together. I met him working for him, as a matter of fact.
Well, there you go. So,
And you know who she was married to before William Asher, don't you?
Dick York, of course.
Gig Young,
just
a big boozer in Hollywood.
Yeah, and I see Gig. Oh, that's a sad story.
And Elizabeth's dad was in the business. Robert
Yes, he
Montgomery
was.
had a TV show.
Yes,
so.
and he's also known for the stupid coffee commercials. The Coffee Mate, I think is what it was.
Wait a minute. I thought that was the dad from Father Knows Best.
No, I'm sorry. Not the coffee commercials.
That's another Young.
It's a pledge or something.
Robert Young was the other guy.
Robert Montgomery.
Robert Montgomery.
Yeah.
Robert Montgomery. He
That's
did the
her dad.
pledge commercials or something about doing the table. And yeah, that's right.
That's a cool clip. See, I love seeing interviews from back then because
That's
it
what
was
I
so
mean.
long ago. Like she was on Password with Alan Ludden, the first color year in '66, and those are running on Buzzer, a free over-the-air network of classic game shows, and that airs. Those are pretty good interviews. And she was kind of risque, Liz Montgomery. I saw her in a 1979 Password Plus episode where I don't think I should say this on a PodBlast, but her contestant was a young very attractive college student at the time. I'll just tease it. The word was cock. I'll just leave it at that. And Liz Montgomery made a comment as a clue. She goes, "You're a college student and nothing comes to mind?" Anyway, enough said.
Wow,
she's a little naughty. It made it on the air.
Chance always remembers that stuff.
But that was a nighttime password.
Yeah, it was
right?
in 1979.
Well, like
this wasn't the
nighttime-
60s. She was on in 66, but also in
Yeah.
79 after Bewitched had ended.
Yeah.
And that's when she was with Robert Foxworth, who was her husband when she passed away
Yes,
in
that's right.
1995.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
hey, I want to say on Bewitched, there were a couple firsts. There's a lot of people that put erroneous articles out there in Wikipedia. Big surprise. But someone claimed in the media and on Wikipedia that the Brady Bunch was the first show to show a husband and wife in the same bed.
No.
Bewitched showed that from the get-go. Samantha Stevens and Darren Stevens slept in the same bed long before the Brady Bunch.
Well, they even showed, even I Love Lucy showed them in the same bedroom, and the beds were
But they had
pretty close
separate
They
together.
couldn't be
Yeah, they
on the
did.
bed.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
They always had to have one leg on the floor. That was the old
That's
adage.
That's it. That's how you're right. You're absolutely right.
And that goes back to the old Clark Gable movie. Clark Gable, it happened one night, and if you go back and look at that movie, I think there's one scene where they're kind of together. He falls on the bed or something, but he always kept his leg on the floor.
Isn't that silly?
But
How the
that's how
senses
silly
work?
they were back then. It's crazy.
And you couldn't say the word pregnant. That's why when you played that clip, you're like, they said pregnant on the talk show.
Yeah.
That was a big deal back then.
But Dick York was in, even before Bewitched, he was a character actor, a great character actor. He appeared in so many Westerns, and he was in that movie with Gregory Peck. I think it was To Kill a Mockingbird. He was in, he played a part in that movie as well. But he did a lot of film stuff back then, way before Bewitched.
In Twilight Zone, 2 episodes,
Yeah,
The
of
Purple
course.
Testament, season 1 and
Yes.
season 2, Penny for Your Thoughts, where you could hear, where he bought a newspaper and the coin landed on its side.
Oh, yeah.
And while it was on its side, it allowed him to hear what other people were thinking.
Oh, sure.
Great story and great acting. He was a great actor. Resembled a chicken, I think, a little bit.
You say he resembled a chicken?
Yeah.
He was in Inherit the Wind. They came to Cordura. I hope I pronounce that right. The last Blitzkrieg, Cowboy, 1958, Operation Madball. The list goes on and on. And these were good parts. Some of these parts were good parts, and that's obviously how he got his acting chops back then.
But he's best known for
Of
playing
course.
the original Darren.
Well, of course, just like Agnes Moorehead's known for Endora. She's not known for the Twilight Zone episodes or anything, although from our generation she is.
Hey, Al.
You rang?
I rang. I have a question for you.
Yes.
How many actors played Darren on Bewitched? Just give me a number.
Oh, I know.
I know of 2, but I'm going to say 3.
And you would be right. Ding,
Yes.
ding, 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 ding.
Because I remember there's
a season 2 episode, which is a black and white episode in which Darren is asleep at his draft table and Samantha's musing with Endora and says, what do we look like as a little boy?
Yeah.
And so she zaps Darren Stevens into a little boy, and the little boy actor was Bill Mooney, who was already playing Will Robinson on the first season of Lost
Isn't
in
that great?
Space at the time that was shot.
That's fantastic.
And I think we have a clip. You don't have to get it right now, but it's
you got
of Bill Mooney playing
I would like to hear that because
Darren Stevens.
I believe it or
And
not,
that's the second episode he did while he's looking for the clip. There was a great Christmas episode Bill Mooney
Mooney,
did.
let me
It was
see
the
here.
first Christmas episode, A Vision of Sugar Plums, is the
Right.
title. Look it up on YouTube or wherever you can find it on Antenna TV. It's very touching. Bill Mooney plays an orphan. And ostensibly, this orphanage is allowing kids to be...
You want to hear it?
Yeah, let's play this Bill Mooney clip
listen to
as
this.
Darren
This is great.
Stevens.
This is great.
And turn it up, please.
I was just thinking, So sweet he looks. Like a little boy. If he was cute. What makes you think that? Well, look at what he grew up to look like. Oh, that's the argument I was going to use.
Yeah, with big ears.
Have you ever seen any photos of Darren when he was a little boy? Wonder what he was really like. That's easy to find out. You dare. Darren wouldn't like that. Don't be silly. You needn't ever know. Mother. Oh, Samantha, you better start praying for a girl. I think he's adorable.
Okay.
No.
He talks, right?
What time is it? Why don't you look at your Mickey Mouse watch? 7:30.
That late? Funny, my voice sounds strange. Must have slept on my ear. Well, I've got to get moving. There's a lot of work to do before I meet with the client this afternoon.
Darren, I have something to tell you. Down,
to a mirror
ambitious
to
little
shave.
rascal, listen to you.
He's about to get
I
the shock of
think
his
he'd
life.
grow up to be president if I didn't know that.
So see his big ears.
Take that spell off. Oh, it'll take me a moment to think of it. Samantha!
That's great. The only thing missing was a robot.
Well, actually, we have a
Lost
clip
its
with the
place.
robot's voice. All right, we've played some of the musical themes. There actually were lyrics. We don't have to play it now, but there are lyrics to that theme song, just like the classic Star Trek. And they're horrible lyrics, by the way.
Well, they
It's a
have
good thing they didn't have lyrics. But
Do you know how Saul Sachs got the idea for Bewitched?
no, I'd like to know, bro.
You don't know? I thought you would know that.
Tell me,
No, I
bro.
don't. I really don't know.
It was based on a movie called I Married a Witch in 1942.
Oh.
I thought it was Bell Book and Candle all this time.
Well, they retitled it Bell Book and Candle. There was there was I Married a
Jimmy
Witch.
Stewart.
Yeah.
Jimmy Stewart.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And he got the idea for the TV show from that movie.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, there was a good actress in the pilot of Bewitched, Nancy Kovac. She played the fiancée of Darren Stevens, brunette. Anyway, if you've seen it, and they brought her back in a later Color episode, If They Never Met, and that was a great premise. What if?
Yeah.
What if Samantha and Darren had never met? And there was another one in Color where the world found out that Samantha's a witch, and the military scoops her up, and it's kind of sad. Tabitha and the whole family is basically on a military base.
Wow.
And it's a good what if episode.
Yeah, that I don't remember that. Now, back to Dick York for a moment. We talked about his injury and whatnot. He was actually filming the movie that came to Cordura in 1959 with Gary Cooper and Rita Hayworth.
That's not a great movie.
Well, yes, you're right.
You know,
He-
Tab Hunter's in that movie too.
Oh, I don't doubt that. But he suffered a permanent back injury. And in Dick York's own words, verbatim off of Wikipedia, he pretty much says, I was on the bottom stroke of this sort of teeter-totter mechanism that made the hand car run. I was just lifting the handle up as the director yelled, cut. That would be like me, yelling cut. And one of the wounded cast members reached up, grabbed the handle. Now, instead of lifting the expected weight, I was suddenly jarringly lifted the entire weight of the flatbed, 180 pounds or so. And the muscles along the right side of my back tore, and they just snapped and let loose. And, yeah. And that was the start of, and that was the start of it all. The pain, the painkillers, the addiction, and of the lost career, in his own words. That's Dick York's own words, verbatim from Wikipedia. And but it didn't immediately end his career. Of course, in 1960, he played Bertram Cates on the Monkey Trial fame and the film version of Inherit the Wind. I think I said earlier another movie with Gregory Peck. I was wrong. It was Inherit the Wind. That's the movie I was.
That's with Spencer Tracy.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, a great
and that's the
movie.
movie I was thinking of. I wasn't. I incorrectly said the other movie with Gregory Peck, but But he went on to star in a bunch of other stuff. He also starred in that short-lived series. Al, did you ever see Going My Way with Gene Kelly?
Of course I have.
Yeah, he was in that too. I don't. I had some of those on film. I don't remember him being in it. But it only lasted one season. That's probably why I don't remember. But I don't remember him being in the what? You got something?
No, not right now.
Okay.
I just thought I'd do that.
Well, if you're going to do it, you got to talk like Rush Limbaugh. So anyway, he did a lot of stuff. Hitchcock Presents, The Untouchables, Rawhide, Wagon Train, Father Knows Best, and of course The Twilight Zone and Route 66. So he did a lot of stuff. This man did, and this stupid old back injury.
And
derailed him.
They talk about that in this book from 1992 that I highly recommend called The Bewitched Book. And it's written by Herbie, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, Herbie J. Pilato, Pilato. How do you think that's pronounced? Pilato.
And you probably have to find that on eBay too, because it's probably out of
I bought this
It's
from
probably out of
Walden
print.
Books back in 92 when I was very young. Will you hold that up to the camera for our Facebook Live, or just the cover? Carefully, thank you. I'm trying to keep that in mint condition. But that's a great book.
You going to leave that with me?
Yeah,
you can borrow it. Hold that up to the camera for a sec. Yeah, that is a great book. If you're into the show, I learned a lot from it about the guest stars and a lot of the anecdotes that I'm talking about today. But you know what was cool about Bewitched, Al?
What's that?
You may not like this, but I do. There was alcohol in almost, if not every single episode.
Right up your alley.
Larry Tate, Larry Tate was the character of Darren Stevens' boss.
Right.
And he was always boozing it up. Every freaking episode, they're having drinks with clients or with neighbors or relatives. And we talked about Maurice Evans, who played Samantha's dad.
Yes.
You know what he's famous for playing in terms of an animal?
Tell us.
Animal Man?
Tell us.
Tell us. I'm dying to know.
I'll give you a hint. Think Rod Serling, big screen, 1968, Fox movie.
Oh.
All right. Planet of the Apes. He played the orangutan.
He did. I forgot that.
The nemesis of Charlton Heston's character, who was trying to deny the truth that there was once a great civilization known as man before the nuclear holocaust.
Yeah, so true.
Isn't that a cool book, Al? Keep
It
going
is.
through that.
Some great pictures in here.
I
like books with pictures.
In a minute, I'd want to play I know we played a lot of music, but Al, bear with me. This is the Quaker Oats opening. This is my favorite opening credits music of the entire series. And it's what you don't hear anymore in syndication. Because like I said previously, they only play the season 1 version. But here, I'll take that.
Take the book
back. Do you see on the list of clips says Quaker?
Let me take a look.
I appreciate it, Al.
Also, while you're looking for that clip, Dick York managed to quit drugs cold turkey.
Oh, good. I didn't know that.
Well, which led to 6 months of a lot of withdrawal and recovery. So he had a tough time. He really did with the painkillers and stuff. And he eventually lost. He originally
lost the battle?
Excuse me. I misspoke. He eventually beat the battle with his addiction and managed to revive his career to some degree. And his last 2 credits.
Not seeing it.
We're on Simon and
Come around
Simon
there and see.
and Fantasy Island. He did not play Hervé Villechaize. He did not play the little guy on that. Now he was also York was a 3-pack, and I'm hearing everything you guys say because you don't want to kill Al's mic. But anyway, he was a 3-pack a day smoker. Chance, you hear that, Chance? A 3-pack a day smoker. Al, you can use this mic because it's already on. You're right there by it.
Well, I know, but he was.
But he
mislabeled the clip.
He's got
the
clip ready.
Yeah, but he spent his final years with emphysema.
Terrible with an oxygen tank.
Yeah, and so obviously that.
Wait a minute, you click opening. Is that the one you want?
But
yes.
Quaker. Despite his suffering, he
first
also,
color season.
All right.
He also said, "I'm blessed. I have no complaints. I have been surrounded by people in radio, on stage, and in motion pictures and television who love me. The things that have gone wrong have been simply physical things." So he died from complications, emphysema in East Grand Rapids, Michigan, in February 20th.
Well, I'm depressed.
That's a 1-2 punch.
I'm just depressed.
A deadly 1-2 punch.
Here's the thing. He was only 63. 63. That's it. So, and he's buried in Rockford, Michigan.
Now, this version Al's about to play is what I grew up on, because when you guys were working together at Turner, that's how I discovered Bewitched, because every morning they play Jeannie and Bewitched. Every morning before school.
The Quaker Oats Company presents
Gary Owens. I like how they added the little cheesy sound effects.
That. It's a catchy song.
Brought to you by Aunt Jemima, the
Aunt
first lady
Jemima.
of pancakes. And now, syrup.
Oh, syrup.
And Phillips Milk of Magnesia.
Thank you for playing that. That was my favorite opening. First color season.
We'll just play a commercial. You want to
with the sound effects.
Well,
a commercial.
Well, 1967 Quaker Oats commercial. Well, the cast would always do commercials. I mean,
Yes, with Liz. I see Liz.
Yeah, I had an Andy Griffith show.
I don't see anything. I can get up and go there and look at it.
Come on.
We'll play it.
Can I say what I was going to say?
Go ahead.
You're interrupting. How rude. Go ahead. So I had a Andy Griffith show where had post commercial in it with Don Knotts and Andy Griffith. It was great. It was great when they were able to get the cast to do the commercials. But this is Elizabeth Montgomery and Dick York right here.
Good morning, sweetheart.
Oh, hi. Can I fix you some eggs?
Oh, kill my ears.
Okay.
Samantha, I thought I told you no witchcraft.
I didn't.
Don't cover up. It takes time to make oatmeal. There's not even a pot around.
There's no trick to it. Really. I used instant Quaker oatmeal. You just pour a packet into a bowl, add boiling water, stir, and it's done.
It's like magic.
With instant Quaker, anyone can make oatmeal in a hurry. Even mortals.
That's a great time. No fooling. Thanks for playing that. That's a cool clip. I've never seen that.
It's a great little clip.
That's cool. And there were so many catchphrases too. Like Samantha there was one word she said.
Go ahead.
Right, Al?
What was the word?
There was a word. Well. Don't you have a little? I think it's 2 seconds long at the top. It should say well. I don't know. That was one of her little quirks, one of her little mannerisms.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, she was with the director William Ashton. That was almost in stereo.
Okay, that's enough. That's crazy.
And later, no, that's okay.
All right.
Later, I edited, like they had a writer and director credit where it's just like 5 seconds of music for almost every season, and I splice it all together, and it'll make you feel like you're watching all 8 seasons in like 30 seconds. But we'll get to that later. Not now, Al. It's cool. We played enough of my clips. I want to space it out. Al, don't you've got to add something, man. I'm hogging the mic again. Don't let me do that.
No, I said what I wanted to say. I'm cool. Now,
no, you're not, because
now-
he mentioned Gary Owens, and you've got a great story to tell about meeting Gary Owens. I'm trying to bring
I met
you into
Gary
this.
Owens a long time ago.
Well, tell us.
Now, was that before he died?
And Gary Owens went on to be laughing. He was
very much
on the mic and laughing.
I met him when he was on Laughing.
Well, he was
How's
also
that?
a Space Ghost.
Where were
original
you? In
Space
California or New York or what?
I went to California, my first trip to California.
Give us a
And,
year, if you don't mind.
Do I have to?
You don't have to. It's your-
1972.
Okay.
Ooh,
My first trip to California went out there, and I wanted to go to a lot of radio stations because I love radio and TV and that sort of stuff. And so I knew that Gary Owens worked at KMPC in Los Angeles. And so he did the afternoon show there. And so me and my friend Jimmy, we went to KMPC studios, and they were very nice. They said, come on in. And I said, well, I'd like to meet Gary Owens. And so they said, come on back. And they took us back. And Gary Owens, he sat in a room with a microphone. They had an engineer running the board for him. He was a big radio station.
Can you do an impression of him?
And so, wait a minute.
All right, sorry.
Tom can't. But anyway, he motioned for me and Jimmy to come on in.
This is Gary Owens.
So we went in the room with Gary Owens and sat in on his show and talked about us visiting California, and we popped in.
Wow.
And then afterwards, we stood out in the hallway in the studio, and I had my picture taken with him, and I still have it to this day.
So you were
They were
on
in
his
Burbank
radio show.
then. You must have been in Burbank.
It was in Burbank, yeah.
Yeah. That's where Laughing was filmed.
You know who owned?
Downtown,
Do you know who
lovely
owned
downtown.
KMPC Radio?
No, I don't.
Cowboy Gene Autry. That was his radio station.
Wow.
He also owned the California Angels baseball team.
You see, what we want to do on the PodBlast,
You
we
know.
don't want this to be dated. We want this to be as relevant today as it will be after we're all dead. Okay, so we try not to reference things that are too topical, too timely. This is classic info, and I love that story, Al. That's
He
cool.
was,
that you met Gary.
he couldn't have been any nicer to us. He was just great.
He was a good person. If you look him up now, he was in a
he's just a
Jeannie
nice
episode.
guy.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
As himself, when Laugh-In did a crossover onto I Dream of Jeannie, and they were going to reveal. I'll just save it for the Jeannie segment. The Jeannie segment will be shorter than Bewitched because I think Bewitched ran longer. It was the original, and I'm more of a Bewitched fan than
I like
than
Jeannie
I like
okay,
both,
but Bewitched is my favorite.
Yeah, and I think Samantha Stevens was a smarter character than Jeannie. Now, Jeannie was, of course, magic, 2,000 years old. She was smoke, right?
Woo.
So Samantha, I just think, had a little more substance and charm. Now, did you know there were lyrics? I already talked about this. The lyrics to the Bewitched song.
You didn't tell us what they were. You just said they were cheesy.
Yeah, and there was a variety show called Hollywood Palace that you well know.
I love Hollywood Palace. Great show.
And
on ABC.
On ABC. Now, on October 1st, 1966, Elizabeth Montgomery hosted it, and it was an hour-long variety show. And these singers sing the theme to Bewitched.
Really?
And I wanted to reveal that here because, to my knowledge, it was definitely never in the show. It was always instrumental only.
Do we have that clip?
Yes, we do. Hollywood Palace.
Let me look and see.
And it's not very long.
There it is. There it is.
Let's play this entire clip, please. Thank you, sir.
And now, from the Hollywood Palace, here is your hostess, the lovely star of television's Bewitched, Elizabeth Montgomery.
Bewitched, you've got me in your spell. Bewitched, bewitched, you know your craft so well. Before I knew what you were doing, I looked in your eyes. That brand of blue that you've been brewing took me by surprise. You witch, one thing is for sure, that stuff you pitch just hasn't got a cure. My heart was under lock and key, but somehow it got unhitched. I never thought my heart would be had, but now I'm calling, I'm kinda glad to be.
She'll speak here. Let her talk. This is real brief. Listen to what Liz says here.
Good evening. I'm very happy to be your hostess on the exciting Hollywood Palace and to have the opportunity to thank all of you for watching Bewitched. It's a lot of fun playing Samantha each week and having the power to make all sorts of things appear, a bottle of champagne, a diamond bracelet, and even one thing that's almost impossible to get, a parking space. But tonight I'm really going to have a ball. I'm going to make a whole variety show appear. It's not really very difficult. Show you how it's done.
So I guess they didn't have the original sound effect at the Hollywood Palace, even though it was an ABC show.
Yeah.
Well, who sang this? That was a great.
Did you notice who the introductory narrator was?
Yeah,
Who said, "Welcome to the Hollywood Palace."
Yeah,
but the singers were really good.
No, that was Dick Tufeld, who was the voice of the robot on Lost in Space,
Well,
and
yeah,
the narrator.
but
And he worked with Irwin Allen on the Time Tunnel
Right. But he was the announcer for the show every week.
of Hollywood Palace.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got confused. I thought you were talking
No,
about.
no, that's
the-
what I was
okay.
talking about. No.
Wait a minute.
And I didn't know that. I haven't
So
seen
the
many
guy that was
Hollywood
on
Palace. That was before my time. I didn't know
the
that.
guy in the Hollywood Palace, the announcer was who?
Dick Tufeld. Dick Tufeld.
He was the voice of the B9 robot.
Yes,
Lost in
B9
Space.
on Lost in Space.
Morning,
Yeah.
morning,
And he was
morning.
on last week, as you recall. You know, he would open each episode.
Now,
as a narrator.
later on in that show, funny thing about it was Paul Lynn was on the show with her.
Yes, in the
Yeah,
Hollywood Palace.
yeah,
Yeah,
he
he's got
was.
it on his laptop.
Well, let's listen to this.
Yeah,
and
let's
see
do
what-
it.
See if there's anything funny.
If it's not, we can turn it off.
Well, we
right?
sure will.
Yeah.
Doggone straight we will.
Well, hit it.
He's standing at a podium with a book open,
A very visual clip.
waiting for his companies to come along, which is Elizabeth Montgomery. Here she comes. She's chewing gum. She has a tiara in her hair.
And a fur coat.
She's opening the book that she's supposed to be reading from.
She looks like a millennial there.
She does. She said, Paul's mouthing, she's chewing gum and telling her to take it out. Now she's going to stick it
Taking the gum
underneath the podium.
Yep.
There it is. All right, anyway.
No, keep it going. It's a cool.
Any dialogue in this
come
thing?
On.
Come on.
This clip's on YouTube. It's called Elizabeth Montgomery Host Hollywood Palace Clip
Scene
3.
1, Act 2, Macbeth, by William Shakespeare.
To me or not to me.
Is this the dagger which I see before me? The handle toward my hand. Come, let me clutch thee. I have thee not, and yet I see thee still. Art thou not fatal vision, sensible to feeling as to sight? Or art thou but a dagger of the mind, a false creation proceeding from the heat oppressed brain?
She's yelling.
I see thee yet, in form as palpable as this.
All right,
which
so it's
now
supposed to
I
be
call-
pretty much a comedy bit.
It's kind of
It
visual.
kind of falls
The-
flat if you don't see it.
Yeah, they're making funny
Okay,
facial expressions.
yeah,
And Liz Montgomery obviously doesn't give a crap about his reading, and she's chewing gum and yawning and doesn't want to be
Got
there.
any better clips than that?
Yeah,
course
later
we
we've
do.
got Jonathan Harris on Bewitched, who was, I keep referencing Lost in Space because that's an upcoming PodBlast. We have a special guest we're waiting to get clearance on. That's going to happen, and I don't
Oh,
want to
yeah.
give it away.
No,
don't give it away.
No, don't.
But we have a special guest related
To
to Lost in Space. But Jonathan Harris was on Bewitched. This is the year after Lost in Space was canceled. He guest starred on Bewitched as a piano instructor.
Do I have that?
Yes. It should say Jonathan Harris.
And it's
Ah,
hilarious 'cause
there it
it's Jonathan
is.
Harris.
Let's see. Wait a minute.
And don't cut it off. It's I cut it down, but it's got some time to it, but no more than 2 minutes, I think.
No more than 2 minutes. Are you sure?
Let's listen to it. Anytime you
He's
want to
such
play
a
it.
dick.
Samantha Stevens.
Johann Sebastian Monroe.
Yes. I am to be addressed either as Mr. Monroe or Sir.
Yes, sir. Won't you come in?
You're beginning rather late in life, aren't you?
Well, better late than never.
That remains to be seen. Let me evaluate your fingers.
How are they?
Adequate. No more, no less. Where is the instrument?
In the living room.
It's riveting.
It gets better.
I hope so.
For what we are about to do to you, I apologize.
To the piano.
They said it was imperfect, too. Is it?
Approximately. At this stage of the game, it doesn't make much difference. Please be seated. I demand strict attention and total obedience.
Yes, sir.
Now then, these are the black keys, and these are the white keys.
I know.
Silence,
I'm sorry.
Mrs. Stevens. Silence means no talking, is that clear? We shall start with the white keys, and we shall play all the notes of the scale, otherwise known as do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Did you observe my fingers?
Here's Dr. Smith.
Trust me.
Can you imitate them? Very well. Try. Just a second.
He's putting on earmuffs.
This is no insult to your ability, but in my profession, eardrums have a tendency to become brittle, and my doctor advises me to protect them. Now, inspire me.
Inspire me.
Good. I hope that was it. Oh.
He's such a prick.
Family show, Al. It's almost over. Hang on.
Mrs. Stevens, you are playing a piano. You are not plucking a chicken.
Oh, All right. Well,
so that gives you a sense, but he's in it a good bit, and he's got some pretty good lines in the episode. And he gets enamored with Tabitha. The plot is that Endora zaps Tabitha the ability to be a protege, a maestro, and he's just blown away by Tabitha.
Well, you can't help but wonder what the director and producers were thinking, because Jonathan Harris is capable of doing different types of characters besides Dr. Smith all the time.
Right. And you know what? He's from the Bronx, and he came up with this pseudo-European British accent.
Yeah.
Which I think is brilliant.
Well, sure, it was brilliant, but he got transformed into a character, and everybody wanted him to do the character no matter what. And he was perfectly talented, just like Charles Nelson Riley could do dramatic roles as well. But he's got typecast into the silly, characters from Sid and Marty Krofft and Lidsville and whatnot. And same with Jonathan Harris. He got stuck in that role, and it's like the Hollywood community would not let him out of that role no matter what happened. So that's sad, but he made a living, and he's better remembered for it as well. Now, I don't know if any of you guys out there met him in person ever, but you can't help but wonder if somebody went up to him and said, "Hey, do Dr. Smith." You got to wonder how he responded to that, because you just never know, because some of these actors that get typecast, like Adam West and especially Fred Gwynne, they didn't really like to be reminded of it a lot of the time. So, it's sad, but at the same time, hey, that's how you remember this guy.
Well, Bewitched was the highest rated show between 65 and 66 and 66 and 67.
Oh, sure it was. And I used to watch it. It was a good show.
It was number 11
No.
the following 2 years before it went off the air.
You had competition like Batman and the like. Now, I edited this piece of music. This is what I talked about earlier, the director-writer credit. It's like 5 seconds of music, and they scored different music almost every season, and I edited most of them together.
Well, good, because
I'd like to play that.
Because we can only take
no
about
talking.
5 more seconds of clips.
Okay.
Yes,
I think this is this one, and then the song where Liz sings, and that'll be out of my stuff.
And we need to seg to Jeannie here pretty
Yeah,
quick.
I know.
Okay.
Listen to this.
Sam, will you do something before I say
Well, we'll play this.
something?
This is fine. This is the song.
I'll blow you a kiss.
This is the one you wanted.
A little guitar, a little atmosphere, and it wails like this. Wherever you are tonight, a feeling tells me that you look out of sight. So I'm gonna blow you a kiss in the wind. And when it reaches your lips, my dear, you're gonna smile and feel me oh so near. So I'm gonna blow you a kiss in the wind. I've been laying here in my bed, yeah. Images of pretty thoughts running through.
She got past the censors here.
About a guy in my mind I can feel, I can almost touch. Ooh. Oh my goodness, I miss you and I want you so much. Wherever you are tonight, I got a feeling that you look outside.
That's awful.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
It's awful.
I disagree. Well, Dick Sargent's about to share your sentiments, so let's play his reaction.
How do you love it?
I'll give you an unbiased opinion. It stinks.
Hold on, keep it going. Because of the sound effect.
Something happened.
I'll
What
agree.
happened?
That song
What
was
happened?
Quentin Tarantino performed that song on Saturday Night Live in the 90s and sort of brought it back. But I like the song. That was a
I
Boyce
agree.
and
It
Hart.
stinks.
That was, let me
It
explain. That was a
stinks.
Boyce and Hart song. They guest starred in that episode called Serena Stops the Show.
Yes, I remember that. I saw that
And-
show not that long ago. I remember that. I do remember that. So why would Quentin Tarantino resurrect that song of all songs?
Why would anybody resurrect that song? It was awful.
Yeah, I know. Well, and then there was some Serena.
That one?
Yeah.
There was a Serena song called the Iffen song. That was another song that was on that show. So I don't know whether they ever released that as an actual.
Well, let's look it up.
A 45 RPM record
I hope they did.
Well, because it was written by Boyce and Hart.
It sucked.
I mean, I like it's visual. It was funny.
It's a visual thing, but it just
Liz, the lyric when she says, "Oh my God, goodness, I miss you and I want you so much." Liz Montgomery's doing her fingers like naughty, naughty, naughty. They kind of got one past the censors there.
But again, it wasn't the first time she excuse me, the last time she sang on the show.
This was before the one we just played, the one you're about to play.
Yeah,
if we can get past that commercial.
Well, I'm just saying, it's almost like her husband was pushing a music career for some reason. I don't know. Let's listen to this out for just a few seconds. I do not want to listen to the whole song.
Well, I guess I ought to go in the kitchen and help Samantha. Oh, wait a minute, Lulu. Don't walk out on the entertainment. Sit down, everybody. Make yourselves comfortable.
And she pulls out the guitar under the sofa.
Now that's Serena, not Samantha, right?
Well, yes, but
I know a little
she's
ditty recorded by the
appearing as
Velvets called
Samantha.
Flip Side of America the Beautiful. It's called the Iffen song. Iffen, you want to feel my embrace. Don't you ever wash
Shaking
your
her
face.
hips.
Iffen, you really care for me. Don't you comb your hair for me. Iffen, you want to leave me weak and weepy. You gotta look wild and weird and creepy.
Now here's a weird. Talk about
I like those
that
lyrics.
one
Keep
sucks
going.
as well.
Talk about
Well,
creepy.
I like the other one better.
Talk about creepy. She was shaking her hips, and Larry Tate was digging it.
Keep playing it.
No, that's
No,
that's
that's
enough. but that's funny because Larry Tate was really giving her the eyes.
That's cool.
Both
Waka,
are
waka.
thumbs down.
Al, I got one last clip, and that's it for Bewitched for me. To see the music one, this is the montage of the writer-director credits. This will make you feel like you're watching the whole series in 45 seconds.
Or
Are
hopefully,
you sure it's
or
45
hopefully
Yes.
less.
Positive.
What's it called?
I had it right there, music.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
So basically, it's a montage. It's a ditto music.
It's the opening credit. After the opening credits,
Yeah, of
they have the
course.
director writer.
Well,
I
that's
missed
pretty
one.
good. That was good.
I
That
missed
was
the
good.
one from the pilot, though. There was another piece of music I
Oh,
forgot to put on.
Well,
there.
we got to start over.
No,
gotta
we can't.
start-
Daggone
we
Al,
can't.
rewind the damn
Don't you
tape.
have a clip of the
We
pilot?
have
I'm
to
kidding.
start over. Al, start over. Chance.
So that's
Chance.
all I have of the clips. Do you have anything?
Chance,
Yes.
get out.
I'm fired. You're friggin' fired.
No, but that was great. Now the other
I
show,
edited that myself.
the other show we were going to talk about, which I don't even know if we have
Well,
time.
we've
We did.
gone,
We're
we've
gonna-
gone
we're
an
gonna-
hour and 22 minutes. We
Okay,
just have
Good,
to-
good. We're gonna grace. There's not many clips of Jeannie. and
We'll
stuff.
spend 5 minutes on poor Barbara Eden's show.
I've just got.
I dream of freaking Jeannie.
Or we could maybe
We
do
can
a
spend
separate
about
one.
10 minutes.
Okay,
on
okay.
it.
Can I just say a couple quick things about Bewitched? Why don't you? I don't want to hog.
No,
do you
I
want to
think
have
we're-
something to say? Or
No, I'm done.
Well,
Bewitched is
listen,
my
listen.
favorite.
There were so many great shows in Bewitched. We'll just wrap it up with this. There was the Halloween shows. that
Yeah.
you
They were the
alluded
best.
to
I watched them all
Halloween's were
this
the
year.
best.
I have
Yes.
all 8 seasons on DVD, and
Yeah.
I watched them this Halloween. They're great.
The Christmas show. I mean, they were all very, very well written.
Watch A
shows.
Vision of Sugar Plums, the first Christmas with Bill Mooney. I talked about earlier, where he's an orphan.
Right.
That is a great episode, and it's so sad at the end where he looks at Darren and he goes, He goes, I'm not your son. I mean, you have to see it. There's a dramatic scene where he doesn't believe in Santa Claus.
Well, that's depressing.
He's disillusioned. And so Samantha takes him to the North Pole
Oh, yeah.
and
Oh,
to
yeah, I
Santa's
remember that.
shop. And that's
I
been
remember
colorized
that.
too. But that is a great, great episode from the very first season. And anyway, yeah,
Yes.
you're right. The Christmas episodes were wonderful.
I remember that. But there's so many. I mean,
Oedipus Hex was a good one. Remember
Yeah.
that one with the popcorn? It's a
Oh, yeah,
first
yeah,
color
yeah.
season where Andorra zaps a bowl of popcorn.
Yes.
And whoever eats it gets like lethargic and it's like they're stoned. Like they don't want to go to work. And like a policeman tries to ticket Larry Tate or one of the clients rather. And then he takes a bite of popcorn, the cop, and he's like, deal me in. They're playing poker. And you just have to see Larry Tate shows up. Why aren't you at work? And then he takes a taste of the popcorn, and then he pulls up a chair and goofs off all day.
Yeah,
But,
well, that's what they did. They drank a lot on the show.
so, guys, you guys were at Turner when I discovered Bewitched. I talked about that earlier. Did you know the black and white episodes didn't air for almost 12 years until Nick at Night brought them back in 1990? Little factoid.
Now, when they brought them back in '90, were they colorized at that point?
No, they were black and white. They were not colorized in any way, and there was a lot of fanfare and promo about it, promotional stuff. So 254 episodes of Bewitched, ended March 25th, 72. After that, Liz Montgomery did a movie that scared the hell out of me, Lizzie Borden, where she played Lizzie Borden with all the wax of the axe.
I remember
She
that was a good
so
movie.
convincing. I think it was from 74.
I saw it.
And she also, before Bewitched, was in a great Untouchables episode.
Ooh, I
where
love
she
the
played.
Untouchables.
She played.
We should do a show on the Untouchables.
We will.
All right.
Guest stars, real quick. Richard Dreyfuss played a warlock who was in love with Samantha. Isabel Sanford, before she played Wheezy on The Jeffersons. She was in a time travel episode. And there was also one, I swear, as a kid, I thought you could see Liz Montgomery naked. But I know I'm wrong. She, in the scene, I won't say which episode it is, it's a color episode. She speeds herself up because she has so many chores to do.
That's not.
And she goes in full
Wishful thinking.
No,
on
but
your
she
part.
goes in fast motion and she changes clothes. She does. She changes clothes. You see her slip and everything. And she gets out of the dress. I mean, I guess I have a dirty mind, but I remember every time that would come on, I would try to see, can you see her naked? I could have sworn you could
Well,
see her.
that's a kid in you.
So I think, and then of course Adam was born. Let's just mention they had another child on the show.
That was almost a throwaway child.
Yeah, they were trying to scoop up the ratings, and those were twins in real life because the child labor laws.
Right.
Aaron Murphy played Tabitha and her sister. And
Sure.
then
Well, now,
Adam-
what about Larry? Now, Larry Tate and his wife had a baby, but you never saw
That's
much
right.
of that.
Just a few episodes.
Yeah,
You're right.
you never-
You're right.
It was swept under the carpet.
And there were two actresses playing Louise Tate.
Yeah.
Irene Vernon in the black and whites, and then Casey Rogers in the color episode.
Well,
So-
for many years, we'll wrap it up with this if that's okay.
Yeah.
Many years, Elizabeth Montgomery, she struggled with colon cancer.
Oh God!
Unfortunately,
I hate
yeah.
to hear that.
And she thought she had beaten it, but in 1995, she was told that the cancer had returned, and so she had ignored her flu-like symptoms during the filming of Deadline for Murder from the files of Edna Buchanan.
Oh,
That
Lord.
was, yeah. So when it finished in 95, the cancer was diagnosed and it spread to her liver. It was too late for medical intervention.
Oh,
so,
God.
That's a sad way to end
It
this
is. And,
show.
It is,
God.
but that's what happened.
And Paul Lynde died back in 1982, and January 10th, 82, at 55 years
Well,
old. He was
well-
a big drinker. He was an alcoholic.
Well, remember I said Dick York was 63?
Yeah.
She was 62.
Jeez Louise.
Isn't that crazy? That's
And I
crazy.
Well,
think
back
we've
then
covered-
they didn't check for colon. You know, they didn't have colonoscopies like they have today,
True.
and you know they just didn't.
That's what killed Bill Bixby. He didn't have a colonoscopy, and he died of colon cancer on my birthday, November 21st, 1993.
So everybody, please go get your colon checked.
And I want to say this too: laugh tracks suck. Okay.
All
Wait,
right.
no,
enough said.
wait. You didn't like the laugh tracks?
I hate laugh tracks, man. But
Oh well.
But
say bye bye Bewitched. We got to talk about.
I'm holding up something for our Facebook Live viewers if we have any.
There's only
day,
one.
and it's the Jeannie. It's a I Dream of Jeannie bottle, and this is a real
Let me
1964
show it
whiskey
here.
bottle. This is the season 1 Jeannie bottle. Here you go, Al.
Season
Hold it up
1
to the
whiskey
camera.
bottle.
And I Dream of Jeannie came along, also a Screen Gems production in 1965, but they shot the pilot in early 65 under freezing conditions. And I'll say this.
On the beach.
Chance's got some booze in here.
Barbara Eden got pregnant after the show was picked up, and
Oh,
she
great.
told the creator, Sidney Sheldon, who went on to write all of those romance and sort of risque, trashy novels after I Dream of Jeannie.
Yeah.
You can set that anywhere. And they had to hide her pregnancy in the early Jeannie episodes with veils.
And she was a
then they-
2,000-year-old genie.
2,000-year-old
she
Jeannie.
really was. Yeah.
But we love Barbara Eden, and we'll play the theme later. There was a season 1 theme that's different than the dun 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 dun.
Oh yeah, it
dun.
was totally different.
Richard
Well,
West scored.
I did
that.
like the
And it
music in
sucked.
Jeannie.
I'm
I
sorry.
like both themes.
Wait,
I like the theme.
But the Hugo Montenegro version, and didn't he do the music to the spaghetti westerns with Clint Eastwood?
No, he didn't do the movies. Ennio Morricone did it for the movies, but Hugo Montenegro did an album of the spaghetti western, and that was what was really popular on the radio.
Okay, I thought Montenegro did some of those.
No, he didn't
the
do any
music.
for the spaghetti westerns.
What was
Ennio
his claim to
Morricone
fame?
did, huh?
What was Hugo Montenegro's claim to fame music-wise? then,
The
in your
Man from
opinion?
Uncle theme song.
I love. No, that was Jerry Goldsmith. I know for a fact.
Well, I've got an album. It's Huge.
No,
I believe
what,
you, but
what
Jerry Goldsmith scored
what
the
put
original
Hugo
Mayhem.
Montenegro on the
I swear I
map
know what I'm talking
was The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
That's what I'm talking about.
But he didn't do it for the movie. He did an album,
A song.
The song, and it became popular, and they played it on the radio a lot.
Thank you. I knew I had Spaghetti Western in there somewhere, but
Hugo Montenegro. We'll do a show on Spaghetti
you
Western.
tell us about Jeannie. What you already said it's not your favorite compared to
No,
Bewitched.
I liked it okay. I liked Larry Hagman. I thought he was a great actor, but I liked him better on Dallas.
You know who his mother is, right?
She's an actress.
Mary Murphy. Yeah, she was a stage actress on Broadway.
Yeah.
More nepotism even back then. And Larry Hagman, I loved him on Dallas too. We should do a show. I don't know if you guys wouldn't care about Dallas. I love Dallas.
I know nothing of Dallas.
A year ago, I watched all 13 seasons and the reunion movies and the revival on TNT from 2012 to 2014.
You know, Larry Hagman was in
TNT.
one of my favorite movies called Nixon.
Oh yeah,
He was great
Yeah,
in
he's
Nixon.
excellent.
He was
excellent.
great.
What part did he play?
He was one of Nixon's.
He was in the cabinet.
Yes, he was in the cabinet.
I don't
you
want
know.
to say.
Well, let's talk about the pilot episode. Was The Lady in the Bottle? Tell us about it, Chance.
Lady in the Bottle was filmed on the beach on location in freezing temperatures in, I believe, January 1965.
Woo.
Do you see a date on your screen there?
No, I don't see
I'm
it.
doing this from memory.
Yeah, I don't see a date.
And again, the Patty Duke Show is where William Asher was directing episodes, and Sidney Sheldon, who created the Patty Duke Show and wrote many episodes. Well, they both left Patty Duke to do I Dream of Jeannie and Bewitched, respectively. So this was Sidney Sheldon's baby, and he always had Barbara Eden in mind, and they remained friends afterwards. In fact, later we got some clips from a Jeannie cast reunion. This is the only time the cast reunited, and except for Hayden Rourke, who played Dr. Bellows. He passed away years ago in the 70s. But it was Larry Hagman, Bill Daly, who recently died, Barbara Eden herself, and Sidney Sheldon on the Donnie Marie syndicated show from 1999, 20 years ago. And it was a great interview. And it was the first time that Bill Daly and Larry Hagman saw each other since Jeannie.
Did they hug?
They embraced, and it was cool because he's like, wait a minute, you're JR. Well, I don't want to give away the clip, but he goes, aren't you JR? It sounds cheesy, but it was actually pretty funny and endearing.
Didn't Sidney Sheldon create Andy Griffith also?
I don't know.
I think he did.
Yes.
Oh, be doggone. That's a good fact.
And
I
more than
didn't
that.
know.
And more than that as well.
Now, they shared the sets. These
Yeah.
were both Screen Gem shows, Bewitched and Jeannie. And did you know that Samantha and Darren Stevens' house set was also the Bellows house set? And on I Dream of Jeannie, Dr. Alfred Bellows and his wife, Amanda, he's the staff shrink psychiatrist on the military base down in Cocoa Beach, Florida. Well, it was the exact same set that you know from Bewitched. Anyway, because they're both for Screen Gems Productions. And Barbara Eden could sing, boy, a lot better. I like Liz Montgomery. I'm not going to compare them. I almost did there. But Barbara Eden had a soulful voice. And she could sing really well. We might have a clip later. I don't know. They copied the Serena Bewitched thing. They had Jeannie 2, where Barbara Eden played her mischievous and actually borderline evil cousin, Jeannie 2, who was after Larry Hagman.
Yes.
Captain Nelson, who was promoted to Major Anthony Nelson during the first season. And man, those episodes are a trip. Very psychedelic.
But Jeannie was just a kind of a silly show.
Yeah, but
it's just kind of empty-headed,
empty-headed,
playful.
silly. You
Sure.
know.
But it was inspired by the movie The Brass Bottle with Tony Randall. Did you ever see that out?
Oh yeah.
With Burl
I didn't see
Ives,
it.
Tony. It's you'd love it. It's a fantastic movie. It's Burl Ives plays the genie, and Tony Randall obviously finds the brass bottle, and it's a great. I'm not even gonna tell you about it. You got to watch it. I've got it. I'll loan it to you.
Yeah, bring it over. Please do. Let's watch it on the big screen.
But it's a fantastic movie, and it's funny. And but anyway, that's what the show was based on. It was inspired by, I should say, Sheldon Leonard. Was inspired.
Did you mention when Jeannie started?
I was just about. You read my mind. We're on the same wavelength, dude.
September 18th, 1965.
Yes.
And when did it end, Al?
May 26, 1970.
May 26,
I beat you,
1970.
Al. I beat you. Al.
And there's actually a final episode where Jeannie's revealed to the world in Dr. Bellows. It's called Hurricane Jeannie from season 5.
What network did it air on?
NBC.
NBC.
ABC.
Yeah. NBC.
NBC.
I know. I'm just kidding.
How many episodes were there?
139.
139.
Ooh, we did that.
I had every one of them on 16 millimeter film one time.
Yes. Because again, these guys worked at Turner.
Because I worked at Turner, and then when they were switching everything over to film,
Yeah, they were throwing away. But anyway, yeah. I had a bunch of. Did you know that Groucho was on one of the episodes?
I did.
Yeah, but I can't
at the end.
I can't find that stupid episode.
And
I mean,
Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah.
You got to find that clip where he's singing. He does a great song on Our Jimmy Genie season 2. But you guys had every episode. You sold them though.
Every episode,
right, Al?
Every episode.
Yep.
To someone who's deceased.
So did I.
That we know in the film collector world.
great Tom
Tom
Hedges.
Hedges. I have a bunch on film to this day.
Great
I have
Tom
Hurricane Genie, but
they're all available on DVD now, so film is kind of blasé.
But the network airs shows out of order. Hurricane Genie was the last one filmed. It was meant to be aired last, but the network did not air it last. It aired it second to last. It aired The Great Chili Cook-Off as the last episode, which is a terrible episode. But the Hurricane Genie is probably on YouTube, and that's very entertaining. And it ties up the series very nicely. And they did reunion movies. But you know what? Larry Hagman was such a big star from Dallas playing JR. They brought in Wayne Rogers to play Major Anthony Nelson.
Of course.
And you know who Wayne Rogers is, right, Al?
Yeah, he was on MASH.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And he was in Invaders we watched with Gene Hackman not too long ago. The Spores was the name of that episode.
I think he's passed away.
He did. And he was a contributor onto one of the cable networks, Fox Business. And he made it big in the stock market. That was his after acting career, and he was very lucrative for him. But yes, he's
I
gone.
watched an episode of Maverick on MeTV that he was in.
Oh, you did?
Wayne Rogers, yeah.
Do you have a clip?
No.
Okay.
I just saw it the other day.
Do you have the theme to Jeannie handy? I think I had some Jeannie clips. These aren't long. Should say theme.
No.
Yeah,
no,
you do.
I do not. Let me see.
It should be on the list of clips that we transferred 2 weeks ago to Adobe.
Well, it was so long ago.
He could probably pull it up quicker.
He probably could.
But and Jeannie, the other thing Barbara Eden did, she wore a wig. If you notice, in every episode, she's wearing a wig. That's not her real hair.
No.
Kind of like Dolly Parton, you never see what she really looks like, and that's smart. She could go out in public, I guess, and maybe fool the public and not get mobbed. But there's 2 versions of the theme, like I talked about previously: the Richard West version and the Hugo Montenegro.
I got Jeannie clips that says cast reunion, opening segment.
No, let me come around.
See, opening
Take
segment.
it away, Tom.
Yeah.
Jeannie season 2.
Yeah,
Jeannie
it's the season 1.
See right here.
Let's see, buddy.
That's
no,
great.
not the reunion.
Les Mis.
Well, let's play the bio. Let's play the bio.
And for the audience
This is just a little
of your love network, but particularly to the home folk in Vegas.
What
and
is
for
this?
My lady and for little Sam and
Sammy
Big
Davis Jr. Stand by on my clip, then.
I dreamed a dream in times gone by.
I'm sorry, that sounds like Billy Crystal to me.
Can I have an eye? Oh, I almost stole a joke from someone. I'm sorry. Erase it. There's a great comedian, Jim Gossett, newsmakerline.com, that does a great Sammy Davis Jr. impression where he's playing Wheel of Fortune. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But we have a little bio. This is very brief of Barbara Eden. I want to just play.
I don't know what clip you want.
See the bio? It says Barbara Eden bio. Let's listen to a little bit of that.
Does
This
mean
is
she's
good.
on a bio break?
It's her biography.
Oh.
I don't see no Barbara.
It's
there
right.
it is. There it is. You want to hear that?
Yeah, just a little bit, and then these are short clips, but this is pretty cool.
It'll be time for another chicken sandwich.
Born on August 23rd, 1934, in Tucson, Arizona, the baby girl who would one day be known to the world as Jeannie grew up in San Francisco, California, as Barbara Jean Huffman. Like so many Americans, the Huffmans struggled to make ends meet during the grueling years of the Great Depression. They were determined to provide a stable and nurturing environment for their only child. Harrison Huffman was a loving father who worked long hours as a telephone lineman to make ends meet.
We could have just said all
And
this.
although Barbara's mother Alice was
We'd
a
have to listen to Peter
disciplinarian,
Graves.
she possessed a lively sense of humor and an upbeat attitude.
My mom and dad were very much affected by the Depression. And of course, poor Daddy, he didn't make a dime. He worked so hard for very little. So we had a few rough times, but we always had fun.
Sheltered by her protective parents, Barbara enjoyed a carefree childhood, often playing in Golden Gate Park with her mother and fishing with her father. Terrified by the prospect of
Isn't that Peter Graves?
That's Peter Graves.
And Don't Call Me Shirley. No, that's not. No,
No,
that's not
Airplane. Yes,
That's
from Airplane. That was him. Now,
that was exciting.
well, I want to get some background on Barbara Eden. Now.
I had all that
Hit the
information
theme,
right
Al.
here.
Hit the theme. Musical theme. We got to play the Jeannie theme.
Well, sure. Which one are you going to play?
Both of them.
Opening season 1. Is that what
Yes.
you want?
First, yes.
All right.
And his narration.
Once upon a time, in a mythical place called Cape Kennedy, an astronaut named Tony Nelson went up on a space mission.
He did a lot
The
of Disney
missile
videos.
went up, but something went wrong, and they had to bring it down. Captain Nelson landed on an island in the South Pacific, where he found a bottle. At least it looked like a bottle, but it didn't act like a bottle. Because in it was a genie. Oh, not your average everyday genie, but a beautiful genie who could grant any wish.
That's great.
There's more narration.
You want to hear all of this?
Captain Nelson was so grateful, he set Jeannie free. Only she didn't want to be free. You know how it is when you've been cooped up in a bottle for 2,000 years. She wanted to have fun, and she wanted to have it with Captain Nelson. So she followed him back to Cocoa Beach, a mythical town in a mythical state called Florida. And there in this house, the girl in the bottle plays Spin the astronaut.
That's just great. And that was Jack Wagner, the announcer. He's mostly associated with Disney properties and Disney stuff. And it was
Jack
also-
Wagner?
Jack Wagner.
Any kin to Lionel Wagner?
I don't think so. But, you know, all these shows back then had a lot of the same type of theme songs back then in those early days of 1960s that we remember. What's the other? Now, the other theme song has a totally different
Season 2, Al.
Is
See
it
it?
season 2?
Yeah, you want to hear it?
Yes.
I
Got to.
I don't particularly care for it, but here it is. Oh, that's
That's the Screen
Gems.
Gems logo.
It was on there. I think it must. Keep it going.
Well, that was fabulous. I mean, it sounded like the other one to me. But
Now, you know who she was married to? They acted on the show together, Michael and Sarah. And they worked on the movie Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea together, as well as some other films before they
That's one
worked
of my
together.
favorite movies.
I Dream of Jeannie, yes. And the TV show, of course, was based on that, directed by Irwin Allen. They had one child, and sadly, he died of a drug overdose. Not to be morbid, but we got to give facts here. And she also had another child in the 70s that was stillborn. Kind of sad. So they tried to have another child.
Depressing stuff about
just given. But Michael and Sarah, you'd know him if you saw him. He played he played the Blue Djinn on I Dream of Jeannie. And the ratings, by the way, crashed after they got married. In season 5, the network said, well, we've got to have them tie the knot. After all that wonderful innuendo, they got around the censors. We got to talk about the belly button. I digress. Remind me to talk about the belly button incident.
yeah, because she was not allowed. That's funny. She was not allowed to show her belly button.
You saw it in one episode, though. Actually, when it slipped out.
But if you look at a lot of old movies back then, they didn't show belly buttons.
Yes, the bathing
on men
suits.
or women.
The women's
they
the
wouldn't
women's
show
pants
it.
would be pulled up over the belly button. It was wild. But
What does she have, an innie or an outie?
Any?
An innie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
A big dent. But she was.
Those outies look nasty.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I guess they didn't
But-
tie
and
it up
she's-
when they cut the umbilical cord.
But she's
right?
had it. But you know, if you look at her recently, she's very much out there on Facebook.
Yes.
a lot. But she's had a lot of facelifts.
That's fine.
Which
God
is
bless
fine,
her. I'm
but-
glad she's alive. She's the only one that survives. I think.
Yeah,
all
but
the
she needs
Bewitched
to
cast
age
is
gracefully. Those facelifts make them look horrible.
Well, I miss Larry Hagman. His voice got so bad though towards
Al,
the
your
end.
breathing's killing me here.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I just the one thing I did like about Jeannie is Anthony Nelson didn't care if Jeannie did magic, unlike Darren Stevens, who would say, Samantha, I want you to do it the mortal way.
He almost encouraged her.
And also about Bewitched, going back, we forgot to mention Dick Wilson, who played the drunk, and he was Mr. Whipple in the Shermanettes. He was on Bewitched all the time. He was in the pilot and a few other episodes playing the drunk in the bar at the golf country club with Darren. And he's always complaining about his wife. He's like,
don't squeeze the Sherman.
Yeah, and that's Dick Wilson. So Jeannie. Let's see. After Jeannie, what was a movie and a TV show Barbara Eden did, guys?
I give up.
Harper Valley PTA, based on the song by
Jeannie C.
Al.
Riley.
I know. Yes. Al,
Jeannie C. Riley.
Talk about that song. Do you like that song?
Oh yeah.
We're not going to play it.
We're not. We might get in trouble. No.
Well,
We'll play the season 4 later, the credits. But he's got that on his
we
laptop.
can't play the complete songs.
Well,
no, we'll get in trouble.
We'll
Only
get
30
censored.
seconds.
We'll get censored.
30 seconds. Now they married in season 5, as I mentioned, and the ratings tanked, and the stars knew that would be the case because you'd kill the sexual tension. And we'll play a little clip of them talking about themselves on the Donnie Marie as we wrap up. We're going to wrap it up pretty shortly.
We're almost going 2 hours here, you know.
Hey, can you please, Al, play the cast reunion? Just a little bit of that. This is from 20 years ago, 1999, the Donnie Marie show. I condensed this down. It's on YouTube, by the way. Look it up, guys, if you want to see the whole thing.
This is it right here.
Love this one. And listen to the price of things. 10 pairs of shoes. Listen.
This is a clip of the show.
6 suits, $900. 20 sweaters, $400. 10 pair of shoes, $450.
Well, I
What's
bought
the matter
all these
with
things for you. Mrs. Bellows was going shopping for her husband, and so I wanted to get some things for you.
I simply cannot afford all this.
Oh, but that is the lovely part about it, that you do not have to pay for it. It is charged. $400 for 10 pairs of shoes? Wow.
You want my favorite clip?
This is
the kiss?
This is mine. I had
From the
Heaven pull
pilot.
this one. This is actually the very first episode. It's in black and white. And here again, I'm 7, 8 years old. I'm watching this, and I'm living vicariously.
You're in love with her, aren't
I'm
you?
living vicariously. I am Major Nielsen at this moment. When she walks up and kisses Major. Okay, Jeannie is walking up to me.
All right, let's see it.
And
He's
kissing
out of
me.
control.
Watch as we relive this.
You mean
No, don't. What are you doing?
He was waving me by.
No, I wasn't waving. I was waving to Susan.
Oh, I thought you were waving.
Further into orbit than I thought.
Keep it rolling. There's another good clip. This is where they bring out Larry Hagman.
I will reenact that today. Roll
Back to me.
Is that it?
Well, that was great.
Now, there's another one. Is there another one on the
great.
reunion?
Well, that was enlightening, wasn't it?
Isn't there?
very
There's one where
wonderful.
Larry Hagman comes out. It's brief. Do you see
That's
it?
no, that's it. That's the last
Well,
one.
that's a shame.
You got an opening revised, and that's it.
Just a crying shame. Well, the Jeannie
Play that Jeannie season 4.
show was
Played the
was very popular up to a certain point, but you can only take so much of the magic bottle and the smoke coming out and whatnot. It was kind of clever, but there's also some pictures of rolling around Facebook and whatnot of the set. We hear you every word you guys are cheating about over there, chatting about. Of her set, of the set of inside the bottle, which was pretty cool. It took up a rather large space on the soundstage, and it was very cool looking. You can see all the lighting and everything in a particular photograph that I've seen on Facebook recently. It's probably under Barbara Eden's name on Facebook. That picture will come up. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see it, really. So, Chance, what else did you want to say before we close it out here? Because
Al, you got a clip. I
I
want to play where they actually see each other, the cast, for the first time in 20 years in terms of Daly and Larry Hagman. This should be it.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite scene, something that you remember that stood out that was fun or funny or?
Well, I liked the show before at the beginning when I didn't
Bill
know it
Daly.
was a Jeannie. And that was a better. No, I'm serious. That was a better comedy thing for me because I didn't know what was going on. Once I knew it was a Jeannie, that was a different kind of take on it. But
Well,
I like that
I'm sure
one.
there were a
better.
few shows, but there was
Then I
one
got
show
greedy,
that
right.
I loved was the one where you had to go and say you loved.
Yeah, talk to. He asked me in prison. I guess she disappeared, and I didn't know what was going on. That she was a Jeannie. You asked me to go and talk to the wall because it was to talk to her. Do you remember that one? No, it was my favorite.
We have the clip.
Oh, really?
Right behind
Oh,
you.
well, then I'm leaving.
Oh, they're playing clips too.
That's what I'm saying.
Roger Healy.
They did my work for me.
He wanted me to tell you that he was in trouble and that he needs you, and he's very fond of you, and that you're hurting him deeply.
And your wife's name is pronounced Mai, isn't
Mai.
it? It's M-A-J, it's pronounced Mai.
Yeah,
What
she's
nationality?
Swedish, and that's how you pronounce it. It's the month of May in May. May. In
What is the secret to 46 years?
Two
of marriage?
bathrooms.
Yeah,
I swear.
right.
Two bathrooms.
Two bathrooms.
Here it ends with him saying, Jeannie! Where is it? He says, Jeannie. We got to hear him do the Jeannie yell.
What?
He does the wow.
Jeannie!
Oh,
He
wait,
reenacts
there, he
Jeannie
just did.
yell.
Oh,
All
he just
right, well,
did.
good enough.
You did it good enough.
Now he's got a clip of the theme.
It's gone.
Oh, it's
Sorry.
gone?
I'm sorry. It's gone.
Well, look it up.
We're-
Season 4 end title theme to I Dream of Jeannie is my favorite. But we got a correction in a minute in our correction corner segment. But he's got something to say first, right, Tom?
No, I really don't. I'm just saying that we're about out of time. That's the sad part. I mean,
All
we
right.
spent a lot
Diarrhea
of
of
time.
the Mouth Bartels.
Well, no, we spent a lot of time on Bewitched, which was
Live
very good.
From Al Timber Studio. Al, we got to talk about what happened to you.
There it is.
All right, correction corner. We'll go into our corrections. I want to say about the smoking episode. I meant to, in the smoking PodBlast 8, I wanted to say that I don't condone smoking, and there is a secret to quitting cold turkey I wanted to share with our listeners if you want to quit smoking. I smoked until September 2010, and how I quit. The secret is if you can go 3 days without nicotine in your system, preferably when you get the flu or a cold where it hurts to smoke. If you can go 3 days without nicotine in your system, the drug companies don't want you to know this. You can quit, and that's what I did. So
I have never smoked in my life.
neither have you, Tom. Did you ever smoke cigarettes?
I was proud to say I was dumb enough to know you're supposed to inhale. So I smoked to be cool around a friend of mine. His name was, anyway, it doesn't matter. He's gone. But yeah, I didn't inhale, so I never got hooked on it.
Another correction. Oh, good for you. Another correction was way back in PodBlast 2 about the game shows. I made a comment about Vanna White still looking so great, and I won't repeat what I said, but I'm like, well, I would blank, I didn't say very inappropriate because like she would want anything to do with me. It's funny how the guys say, oh, look how hot she is, and then look at themselves in the mirror. People like me that are not very attractive.
Did you know that?
So I'm sorry, Vanna, not that she'll ever hear my comment, but I'll tell you what I said. I said she looks great. I'd do her.
Yeah.
Like she would do. That's
Well,
just,
did you
that's
know?
a disgusting thing
Did
to
you know
say.
that
So I'm
she's
sorry.
now hosting Wheel of Fortune because Pat Sajak had a heart
No, it was
issue.
a intestinal
It was a blocked
blockage.
I'm sorry, intestinal blockage.
And we send our prayers
Susan
and
even
well
told me
wishes and good vibes to Pat Sajak
And
his
those shows
family.
are going to start airing on December the 9th with Vanna.
Right.
December
So,
the 9th.
we send our
And they
healing
said she did a
vibes.
great job. They said she was really good.
She's been doing it
And
since
the first
1982,
week was
watching.
at Disney World, and Mickey Mouse was doing
Turn
the
the
letters.
letters. That's what I was
He
gonna
turned-
ask.
Oh my Lord!
Yeah.
I knew it was on location. And
Yeah.
now they have Disney weeks for the Disney
Well,
characters.
they're not
in
actually on
studio.
location.
but they have been on location at
Yeah.
Disney World.
Yeah.
Last season they were there.
Yeah, I'm sure that's popular there.
So you're saying they're just in the studio in
Well, that I don't
California.
know. Sometimes they go on location,
They do.
sometimes they don't. But Mickey Mouse is the one when Vanna hosted the show on that particular show. He did the letters. Mickey Mouse did.
And I got a quick rant about Amber Alerts. Quick. Do you notice how with our cable companies and DVRs, when there's an Amber Alert, it knocks out the signal. It knocks out
It
your DVR.
overrides
It
everything and
overrides. It drives me
Radio
up.
and television.
Look, I'm
overrides.
sensitive. Believe me. I would rather save a child than watch TV. But my point is, if you're at home, how are you going to help? If you're on the road through your phone, I can
It
understand.
doesn't matter.
I have no problem with Amber Alert, but I can't stand. You'll be recording something in an Amber Alert, or even the weekly test and the monthly test that the government mandates. It knocks out every
Everything.
doggone channel.
You keep touching me.
Sorry, he doesn't like me. He hates
When
my
there's
guts.
severe weather, it does the same thing. If there's a storm coming.
And another rant, I can't. Just Chance the Rapper guy, he stole my thunder, man. I'm the real Chance, man. I could rap if I wanted
I've
to.
never heard of him.
He's a new.
I'm hungry
He's been
again.
around a while.
I'm hungry again.
Well, I guess we got to wrap it up and feed you.
Well, it's been great.
We've gone 2 hours, and
we-
that chicken
we've
sandwich is
gone-
already gone.
Yeah,
Have we really gone full 2
Hey,
hours?
Chance, go get us another sandwich. Will you go to get us another?
No, I'm gonna go.
I
home
ain't
to
waiting in that line again. It took almost a whole hour.
We just want to shout out to Jill Collins in Argentina. Hey, Jill, how you doing? Hope you're still listening to the Pod Blast.
She started a successful dating site down there. She's
Okay.
a friend of mine from. I've known her since she's thankfully
That's good.
she's tuning in, but I've known her since elementary school.
All right, but anyway, we're going
Jill
to
Collins.
we're going to continue to try to do some really interesting shows. We got some coming up. Lost in Space, Twilight Zone, like we said before. There's some classic movies we're going to talk about.
We should do
And
one
this-
on classic westerns, and Chance will be
Well,
real
yeah.
quiet on that.
Well, next week we have a special guest too.
Well,
don't want to steal your thunder.
No, don't. We might have this person. The problem, we're having some technical issues.
We got to get the phone situation worked out.
But he wants to drive up from Athens.
Oh, I'm
he
sorry.
wants to be here in studio
I'm
sharing the mic
sorry.
with me.
I apologize.
I got to clear it with Al because this is his studio.
Yeah,
but we'll
that's
talk- but
that's
he's
the comic book show we're going to do. I'm sorry.
We're going to talk about how Marvel Comics ripped off a character I submitted.
Okay.
A villain who has been merchandised, and we'll
What if
talk
you're not
about
a big
it. He's one of
comic
our-
book fan like me?
Well,
it's okay.
that's
It'll
why
be a
we're
short
you're not
show.
going to have to do clips.
It'll be
You
a
get
short
you get to
show.
take a vacation. You don't have to pull clips that week.
It'll be a short show. We can go get a sandwich on him and his friend.
And you could talk about your meeting with Stan Lee.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
You've
Which I've
talked
already
about it before,
alluded
but
to
let's
at
go
one
into
time.
detail.
We have to go.
But we have to go, and it's been
wah,
great.
wah.
It's been great being back with everybody, and we just want to say hello to everybody, and please
And thanks for
continue to
watching on
listen,
Facebook.
and continue to share it with whoever you wish to share it with, because we have fun doing it. We hope-
Facebook. Oh God, yes. Go to
You have fun listening.
Nostalgic PodBlast, one word, PodBlast on Facebook and on Twitter,
And do a
Nostalgic PodBlast. And I post all of the shows there. If you search, how can they find the program? Al, what do you search?
good
Nostalgic
question.
PodBlast? We're on.
You can
tell-
search Al's Place, Nostalgia Podblast,
and tell us the forums we're hosted on. It's all through SoundCloud. It's
Spotify,
distributed.
Stitcher, and SoundCloud, iTunes. Yes.
Yeah.
We're all there, but the easiest thing is to go to our Facebook page, like it, and then you'll see I'll post the show when it's ready.
Yeah.
And Al, I want to thank you and Tom for putting up with all the clips. I know it's a pet peeve. It's
Well,
a
I
pain
wanna
in the rump to process them, but we did it.
I want to thank you for showing up.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, thanks for coming
Okay.
in.
All right, fellas, thanks to our Facebook Live audience, and we'll see you next week with a special guest, and we'll talk about comic books from page to screen.
All right, goodbye.
Guests of the Nostalgic PodBlast stay at the newly renovated, beautiful budget motel in beautiful Chattanooga, Tennessee. Come visit Rock City today.
We're done.
Was it 2 hours, really?
Hi, Susan.
Hour and 56
How you
minutes.
doing?
We didn't do Jeannie justice.
How you doing,
And
Susan?